It's the machine of nonsense, and we're getting naughty day 2. That's right, I told you I'd make that joke more than once. It's day 2 of the Nonsense of the Year awards. Hopefully, you've now checked out episode 1. We're going to do a recap, so heavy spoilers for episode 1 of the Nonsense of the Year awards. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Kayla.
Hello, hello.
And we've got Mike.
Hey.
And Tomas.
How's it going?
And we're breaking down everything that we loved in 2021. We are awarding Game of the Year, TV of the Year, and Movies of the Year today. That's what we're doing. We're going to generate top 5 lists. If you haven't listened to part 1 of this discussion, go ahead, check that out. We did biggest disappointments, best characters, and best moments of 2021 in TV, movies, and games. So, if you need a little recap, if it's been a while since you listened to that episode, here it comes. In biggest disappointments, we had E3, GTA Trilogy Remaster, Deathloop, 12 Minutes, and Shang-Chi No Kissy. In best characters, we had Mayor Sheehan, Fred Hampton, Willie Jack, Yelena, and Father Paul Pruitt.
As number 1.
And in best moments, we had the end of Loki Season 1, the Kang the Conqueror intro. We had What Were We Arguing About on the Beach in Old. We had I Am a Revolutionary from Fred Hampton in Judas and the Black Messiah. And we had Bridge Battle, Echo versus Jinx from Arcane. And last, but certainly not least, we had Jogurt, Joe Colley's death in Midnight Mass. If you haven't seen the meme, go check it out.
Pretty good.
Man.
Oh.
Our crack IT team, man. Pulling out. Man. The work they do, the wizardry.
You know,
we got
one
Lucas
of us
Selma working on...
One of us studied marketing for 4 years to create just art like that. Just amazing
man.
art. Oh,
Master of art.
Oh,
Absolutely.
goodness.
I'm glad I dropped out of college.
Let's get into part 2. So, like I said, we're covering games of the year, then movies of the year, and finally TV of the year. Last time we went Eric, Tomas, Kayla, and Mike. That sounds like a pretty good rotation. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm down.
Fine.
Unless you want to snake it. No.
Snakey snake. Yeah, we'll keep on that same rotation. I'll start us off for my top 5 games of the year. How this is going to go. If you didn't watch part 1, please do so. But hey, maybe you just want to see part 2. How this is going to go is we'll each do our personal top 5s, which will create a long list, and then we'll have a little bit of a discussion on the sum total of the Machine of Nonsense list. We'll try to come up with a consensus top 5, best games, best movies, and best TV of the year.
The master list.
The master list.
Master.
So, let's get to it with the Eric game of all Eric games of this year.
You're starting with number 1?
Number 5.
Shit.
Number
Okay.
5. Age of Empires 4.
Yo, AOE, what up? I like your boy.
I knew this one wasn't going to make our final list. And, I went a long time. This could have been like the most enjoyable game that I played this year, honestly. But I didn't want to put it too high on my list because I know I'm the only one who played it. I know it's kind of a niche market for Age of Empires, for RTS games, but I think it deserves some talking about. Just they took the formula from Age of Empires 2, kind of stuck with it, tweaked it just a little bit, didn't break anything that didn't need to be broken, and it looks beautiful, just really nice. And on top of that, came to Game Pass day one, so I was able to play it, just
No
with my
wonder.
Game Pass, yeah, subscription. So just really great. Some downsides, it was a little, the campaign was a little short. There's like 4 sections of the campaign. With the older games, Age of Empires 2, 3, even 1, they've done so much to expand on those. They've had so many DLCs and so many additional campaigns and stuff that it felt going into this one a little light in terms of content. And I don't fuck with the multiplayer stuff, so
Mm.
little light in overall content, but what's there is just exceptional. Anyone who
Would
likes what's up,
Would you
Tomas?
play DLC? Like if
Oh
it came out?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna. I think everything that comes out for this game, I'm gonna yeah download or whatever.
Nice.
As
I'm
long
so
as it's
glad you
not.
got this one this
Yeah,
year.
honestly, it's like, well, if it's half the game that Age of Empires 2 was, like I'm all behind that pick, dude. Like
It's so good,
like
yeah, and
it's like I played the fuck out of 2, like
and
for
3
real.
is such a disappointment too. Like it's so
Oh,
different. They made so many changes to like the formula in
but
3.
nobody
They were
talks about
trying.
it.
Yeah, they were just trying to like change things, and I think they realized it. And then 4 was just like, yeah, we did a good thing with 2. Let's keep that going.
Back to
Uh,
basics.
yeah.
Nice.
So number 5, Age of Empires 4. Number 4, Metroid Dread. My
Woo!
first Metroid game. Immensely frustrating at points, but,
Yes.
I
You
chalk
poor
it up
thing.
to it's frustrating in different ways. I actually didn't have as much trouble on, like, the bosses and the enemies as I've heard other people have. I failed, an average amount, I think, but that wasn't the frustrating part to me. It was navigating the map, um
Mm.
and not, I guess, me being a novice in the Metroid thing. I guess a lot of these things, if I had played previous Metroid games, I may have, going in, I may have known what I was supposed to expect. But going in blind, there was a lot of frustration getting lost, essentially, going in the wrong direction and
Mm.
spending a good half hour not really knowing where I needed to go. But when it was kicking, when it was really, especially, there's a really juicy kind of middle to third quarter section of the game where it becomes slightly more linear, slightly more, you've kind of picked up most of your powers at that point, and you kind of, there's really good like direction just in the environment. It really starts cooking really well, and it's just a fun game to play in the gameplay. The movement's really good. Shooting feels really good. Your powers feel useful for the most part. And some really cool, intricate boss battles and stuff like
Mhm.
that too. So, um, really impressive, and it looks good too. I mean, for just like a
Yeah,
Switch
for a
game,
Switch game. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty. I played it docked the whole time, on a, big 4K TV, and it held up. It looked really well. So,
Cool.
uh,
I'm
Are we
glad you
gonna
enjoyed it.
are we doing our, like, if we have it on our list, do we wanna
yeah,
just
why not?
Yeah, I have it on mine. So
Yeah, I got it on mine too. Um yeah, just the best Samus has ever felt
yeah.
in a game mobility wise. My hot take for games is, like, I think Super Metroid is like the most overrated game of all time. Like I'm not I just think Samus feels like fucking ass the whole time in
Well,
that game.
going
And I
back to it, I can agree with that.
Right, right. Her jump is just so fucking floaty and weird. The jump's kind of weird in this one too, but a different kind of weird. Took some getting used to, with
Like
especially with when you get
streamlined.
infinite jump and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, that was much harder in Super Metroid though. The timing on that shit.
Yes, yeah. Super
So
Metroid. Ugh, God.
it was so unforgiving.
Oh,
The
man.
wall jumps were a lot harder. Like, mind you, watching people speedrun that game is like a sight to behold because they do all that shit so like seamlessly. But yeah, I can understand your sentiment on that. Like, I feel like this game was the culmination of like a few like bumps in the road in the Metroid series. Is they used a lot of the things from the remake of Part Two.
Okay. Did that
And then
feel pretty similar movement wise
yeah,
on the
mind
3DS?
you, it was for the 3DS.
Yeah.
But a lot of the combat shit was reapplied to this
Okay.
one. So like it feels like, like, and that I enjoyed the game a lot, mainly because it's like I like Metroid a lot for the story elements. Like I agree with the Super Metroid doesn't hold up as well as people think it does. I mean, the cool part about it was that exploration part that Eric hates. But they had the exploration, they had, they good like avatar effect where like they make you feel stronger little by little, spoon feed you. But like there's also that, they give you more to work with so that you're more skill based so that like you can practically, you can run the game without even getting touched. Like if you can counter well enough, if you know,
Can
it's
you?
you can.
Some
There's
humans.
Countering feels really good
yes.
on most of the enemies, most of the boss fight stuff. Yeah, some of them it's like,
Yeah.
man, I don't. The timing's weird on
Timing's a
some of
little
it.
wonky sometimes.
How many?
But
How many were you guys good at the Emmy counters? Like countering the Emmys?
oh,
It
I've
was good enough.
God, I
Like
got like a handful of them. Most of the time, I was just like,
I got
"Fuck."
two and one escape.
Yeah,
Once, and then it
I
was
did
fucking
I did a couple
whoever
doubles. I did the double up a couple times. I was like, "Oh my god!" It's like-
uh, both those Emmy encounters, both frustrating and both like glorious sometimes. Like
Yeah.
yes,
eliminating an enemy, an Emmy. I mean,
yeah.
is should have been kind of mentioned on moments. I think on the last episode.
No.
It's just like yes, you have to like you're sneaking through these corridors with like these Mr. X type enemies. If you
Well,
encounter them, you get a
Yeah.
very small window to counter them and escape,
yep.
potentially. Otherwise, they're one hit kills. But in these biomes, you can discover a weapon to destroy them,
Yep.
and it's also like a puzzle to figure that out because you need time. Like first, you need to use the rapid fire part to like destroy the shield that protects their robot brain. Then you need to charge it up to then shoot the exposed brain, and then they're fucking dead. Like this Terminator's fucking gone,
That's
and you get a new fucking power too.
I think the reason I enjoy this game so much is it does combine that like kind of feeling. Like, yep, I love the Terminator and
Mhm.
I love Alien. And it's like that all wrapped up in one.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a fun take on it.
But
yeah,
the frustrating parts are like there's a whole Emmy that's like underwater section. Fuck
yeah.
water in Metroid.
And you don't have
Stop
the gravity suit.
stop taking away the best part of this game, which is the mobility
Mobility.
and the
Yeah.
action, and put you in fucking mud. Oh, every Metroid game does this shit.
Yep.
And it's so stupid. Get rid of it. It's dumb. God,
Gotta
and
get you the gravity suit somehow, Mike.
make
Yeah, it
it do
makes it that
something
much more
different. Like I
rewarding.
don't know. Like did we need the gravity? Like I would be fine with having to get an ice suit and a fire suit. I would have been fine with that if they wanted to pad this thing out.
Yeah.
Get rid of the fucking water. Like instead of the gravity suit just being the fucking it does everything. It's fucking Ronco fucking this power up. Like
7 out of 10, too much water. Got it.
I mean this game could have been it's not number 1 on my list. And
Okay.
uh there's just too much like really frustrating to just missiles grapple what is like switching between all of your kit once at the end of the game
Yeah.
would just get especially in a boss fight like
Add a couple extra
uh,
buttons.
and they kind of set buttons in a weird way
Oh, yeah.
odd to me and
Yeah, it felt a little weird, awkward on my hands, without a doubt. Now, and I'm so much less used to a Switch
Switch.
controller
Yeah.
to a PlayStation or an Xbox controller that added another layer. But I kind
sure,
of chalk that up to
you use every fucking
myself.
button on that fucking
Yeah,
thing like
yeah.
Yeah,
sometimes
fucking they
6
loaded you
buttons at
out.
fucking once like exaggerating a little, but fuck.
But
I thought that.
I've
Oh, go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say I've heard that this is some people's favorite Metroid of all time, even more than Super Metroid and things of that nature. People who loved Super Metroid played this one and enjoyed it even more. And
It's up
I
there
don't.
with Prime for me.
Yeah,
Up there.
yeah.
I think it's better than like Zero Mission or Fusion. I didn't play Samus Returns, but I really enjoyed this game. It was a really
Played
fun ride.
Yeah.
The part that you really liked towards the end when it got linear is where I'm like, man, I kind of liked it, but I'm also like, man, I like going back and finding everything.
Yep.
Mm.
But the map is really big and like
Map's fucking massive.
cavernous. Like it's fucking like which plotting routes is kind of rough
It's really rough.
in this game.
I
And
felt like
it
you
always is
didn't
in a Metroid for me.
you didn't really know what you had to do to get there either. Like you couldn't figure out what you were supposed to do, what skill or specialty you were supposed to use.
At certain points, it just locks you into like a very small area, and you're
Yeah.
like, well,
Figure it
I
out.
need to find this secret fucking bomb wall, like, and that's halfway up, like past this wall, like. There was before the gravity suit section really was
Hey, not a fan,
I-
huh?
yeah, there's just so much water stuff, and there's some just bullshit environment stuff, and that's really it's kind of obvious most of the time. I thought like, but that was the one where I'm like, man, I can see why people are complaining. A lot of people were complaining like, oh, I gotta shoot every fucking that's Metroid's that
That's
like
Metroid. Yeah.
sign up for the newsletter. I got like you gotta
Yeah,
shoot every fucking thing. Like
I was about to make the point that, like, yeah, like first time I played Super Metroid, I put it down. I rented that shit when I was a kid. I was like, how the fuck do you play this
Right.
game? I
Yeah.
didn't understand it. I didn't know where anything was. I didn't know how to progress. I was brick walled left and right. I didn't even know you could run. I couldn't get past like the fucking. There's a part where you have to use the run button to get past like breakable blocks to progress in the game. For the longest time, I just didn't. I couldn't get past that part. So I never rented it again. Like, I only ever beat it as like an adult when I legally purchased it. Through emulation.
absolutely.
Right.
You had
We
a
have
couple
next
$100 there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
there.
Got the cartridge sitting right in front of me.
Number 3 on my top 5, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. I I feel really validated with this game.
People
I
dig
feel
it.
like everyone
Yep.
when they saw the first trailers and gameplay footage and things of that nature, they just shit on this game hard. I think we
Yeah.
did it on this pod.
I did.
Yeah.
You hitched your
And
wagon to it, man. You were on it.
I did. I was like, well, first off, I love the Guardians, so that I mean, I'm a mark for it, I think is what I said, and
Yep.
but I feel validated in that, like, I was like, oh, this gameplay seems cool, and it looks real pretty, and it looks like you're gonna go on different worlds and meet just like super eclectic characters and get real, comic booky and all that, and it checks every box. Like it looks beautiful. The combat is fine. It's very repetitive. You find yourself just kind of using the same powers over and over. But it's done in such like a cool dynamic way with your team and with, everything's going on at all the time. Sometimes that's can be a good thing and sometimes that can be a bad thing, but it looks really, really good. Like, I mean, there's just tons of effects going on. Rocket and Groot and Gamora
Colors.
and Drax. Yeah, they're all flying all over the place, and it's done really well. It performs really well. I had like one little section near the end where it was kind of hitching on me, a little framey, but like 95% of the game just like performed flawlessly, looked beautiful. You travel to like 5 different very unique environments that don't look alike at all. It's very colorful game, and honestly the story is way deeper than it kind of needed to be. I would have just been fine with a buddy comedy, oh, the Avengers or the Guardians go on a fun ride through space or whatever else, but like
Yeah.
the plot line is really deep. It deals with a lot of grief. You kind of delve into just about everyone's past in a way, one way or another. I had mentioned in my best characters Drax. I think he's a real like outstanding character in the game because he does all the stuff that he does in the movies. He's comic relief and he's funny and he's got no subtlety and stuff. But there's a whole section of the game where you delve into his psyche and everything that happened. And if you're not familiar with like Drax's background, Thanos, like the same one from like the MCU and stuff, killed
Not the
it.
same one.
Yeah,
This is a different universe.
this is a different universe, but it's Thanos. It's the big purple guy who like destroys worlds and stuff. He killed Drax's family. Drax had a wife and a kid, and Drax has never really gotten over that. He's spent his whole
Can you
life
blame him?
right, exactly, and he's his whole life is killing Thanos. And in this game, you find out that he did it. He killed Thanos in this
Thanos is
universe,
dead.
and
Good job.
but you also see that it didn't help, like
Oh,
yeah,
no.
he's still fucked up if not as much then worse than he ever was. And part of
And
of the
Thanos
game,
was his purpose.
Right. He had
Right.
Driving
something
force.
to drive him.
right, and part of the game is kind of convincing him that things are better, not because he killed Thanos, not because, his family's gone or anything else, but because of, who he's become and because of him and the Guardians and all those things. So the main
Because they're
thrust,
family.
yeah,
Aw.
exactly. And it's a little cheesy, it's a little,
It's
on the
sweet.
nose, but it's
That's
it's
par
real
for the
sweet.
course for that like group of people though too. I
It
could
really
see that
is.
happening with them.
Yeah.
It works in
Right.
the movies, so I could
Right,
see.
that's
Yeah.
that's their thing.
That's for shtick.
And they do the main like driving plot is there's this kind of cult that is essentially brainwashing people and giving them their darkest desire, not darkest desires, but whatever they desire.
Deepest desire.
Yeah, essentially what this cult can do is cast a magic marvel spell on you, and you're stuck in your mind prison forever. But you're stuck doing the things you always wanted, or having the things you've always wanted. So like for Peter Quill, that's his mother. He gets to go back home with his mother. Drax gets to have his family. Gamora gets to basically everyone gets to have what they want.
Yeah.
And to beat the game, there's actually a section in the game where you can you can see game over like midway through this game if you want, by choosing to go with it, to go with the flow.
Oh.
And you have to purposely not do that. Like you have to make
fight
some
the glamour.
yeah, you have to make some pretty like awful choices, like technically awful choices to like progress and get out of the dreamlike state, because as a player that it's not reality and stuff.
Mm.
And it gets super deep, like I said, like more deep than it probably
Yeah.
like needed to on the surface, but the places it goes, really great. The one drawback is that the combat is nothing special. It is repetitive. You find at least for myself, I found myself using kind of the same super moves over and over. I found
Combos.
like 3 or 4 moves that I really
BBA, BBA,
Right.
yeah, kind of. And they still look cool and they still feel cool, and it's still fun when you're like in a boss battle or a battle with 5 different monsters or whatever, when you tell Drax to do, some crazy smash thing that he can do. It still feels cool, but you're just doing it over and over, and it's a fairly long game. It's like
The best parts of this is definitely the like walking, talking, Groot picks something up, Rocket shoots something. Like it's just so pretty, and that's when you build on the story and you get to explore and like use some moves to get to certain areas and find things. Like Gamora can jump real high and stab her sword, and you jump up to her and she throws you up. So that stuff's all nice and fun. This is on my list as well.
Awesome.
Eric hit everything you could say about this game. That's more I like really pretty story driven games mostly would be what I want, and this checks all the boxes.
Yeah, I think that's you put it well. Like, this is the exact type of game that I always ask for, is like kind of linear, or like fairly linear. It's there's a couple sections where you can go out and explore and stuff, but it's real linear, but it's very story driven, very like episodic
Uncharted.
in nature. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uncharted. There's even a decent amount of like platforming, not too dissimilar from Uncharted. You're not climbing everything, but there's a decent amount of climbing and exploring in that sense. So yeah, it's like an Uncharted type
But
Yeah.
you're the
feel.
Guardians, right, in space.
Yeah.
Soundtrack stuff was good.
You know, I liked all their picks. I like a lot of the music on it. There's a mechanic in the game where it's essentially like a limit break in like a Final Fantasy game where
Mhm.
it's
I
called the
mean,
huddle
it's
mechanic. You power up
published
a
by Enix,
meter
so
and you hit huddle up and you get together and you have a little conversation with your group, and usually like you have to kind of pick up what they're putting down. Like they'll say, Gamora will say something, Rocket will say something, and then you get some dialogue choices, and you're supposed to pick the one that like is supposed to motivate them based on what they're saying, and it's fairly easy to do. And then you get a stat boost during the battle. The problem is that it does the thing where like in the movies where Peter Quill like puts on his headphones and now he's listening to music. The music is so eclectic that you could be in this crazy like battle, like huge battle, and then like Karma Chameleon comes on and it just
Hell
kind
yeah.
of
well,
doesn't make
Be
sense.
Happy will come on. That one's like the hardest one to like battle against.
Ori be happy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah,
Right,
not really
exactly. As
like
you're
a
like, stab him, Gamora.
fighting a space dragon or something,
a little
like
jarring.
it's a little odd, but overall, like, but music is throughout the cutscenes, and you can listen to music while you're in your spaceship and stuff. And music does play a big part, and I think the tracks that they've chosen are really good. It just, I wish they would have like maybe given you only like 7 or 8 of those 20 tracks during the huddle mechanic, because like there's some cool stuff. There's some like heavy hitters, there's some glam rock and stuff like that, which fits to fighting space dragons, but don't worry, be happy, maybe not. But so number 3, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy for me. Number 2, I had a game we talked about a lot on this pod way back when, early in the year. Resident Evil Village. Really,
Pumpkin, Idaho.
really enjoyed this game. I mean, we went over all the faults. It's a batshit crazy story.
Slow.
But you kind of got to know that that's what you're getting into with Resident Evil. Um, it's it's one of my favorite Resident Evil games. I think they've just continued to um take a formula that was kind of started in 7, which is probably my favorite Resident Evil game of all time. Same characters, continuation of the story. That first person perspective I think works really well. And they kind of added elements of like Resident Evil 4 into it, a village, more action, more supplies and things of that nature, a more maybe lighthearted story, let's say. Maybe not lighthearted, but at least like just batshit crazy. I don't know what
A
better
little.
term, to take. Less grounded, as much as any of these games are grounded. Um, but it just looked beautiful. I felt it played really well. I liked how the guns all felt. I was invested in the story and in the mystery. It went some places that I wasn't really excited about once, everything, once it wrapped up. I was like, there could have been some better story choices, but overall, I mean, just played really well, looked great. I was invested in the story for 75% of the game. crazy, wacky characters, and there's some great moments. I mean, I had the dollhouse section of the
Yeah.
game on my best moments of 2021, and I'll stand by that. I think it's scary. It's probably the scariest part, in my opinion, of the entire game, and it's a good little mix up to lack of combat, whereas the rest of the game is incredibly combat focused. Yeah, and I like the variety of the enemies. I think 7, the one thing that I can say, in 7, where it kind of, its downfall is that it's got very few different enemy types. You're just pretty much fighting the same enemy type for most of Resident Evil 7. This one, you've got a lot of different stuff. You've got vampires and werewolves and other creatures, and every
Blind
Blind
section.
monsters.
Yeah,
Dog horse things were
dog horse things. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, those big ones. Yeah.
big fuckers.
there's vertical battles where a creature, a boss is flying at you. There's kind of a little bit of everything, and I think that works a lot.
It's got a
and a
tank
lot.
section,
There's a
which is
tank.
awful.
Yeah,
It's
not great.
short though. It's
It's-
short.
It mixes it up. It mixes it up in a lot of different ways. So yeah, Resident Evil Village is my number 2.
I enjoyed
Resident
it.
Evil Village.
It's on my list, so
Yeah,
But-
it's on my list as well. I think a part of it was just it was such a like kind of fluid game. Like I felt like it was just kept my attention pretty much the whole time. You didn't really get like super stuck anywhere.
Mm.
Good call.
The map was not that great though. Remember that. But I did like just how you kind of like we were just saying with Guardians, you have like each person that you had like a little story that you had to go do that part and then move on, do that part and then move on. And it kind of just built on the story. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, first
Smooth.
playthrough was definitely super enjoyable. What I really enjoyed was like the trophy system they had in it, getting points and stuff. So that definitely made a few more playthroughs more enjoyable for me. Trying to do like the speed runny shit and like playing it on the hardest difficulty.
wow.
So yeah, I got a lot of replay value out of that system just alone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so, well, yeah, and Josh was doing it at the same time too, and I was like, I'll try a few of these things too.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier when you give your Magnum infinite ammo as one of the perks, and you just go, "Ah."
Right.
but no, I enjoyed it a lot. Even Duncan,
Yeah.
Idaho. So.
Yeah.
Heisenberg sucks. He's so dumb. I really liked the entire like castle up to that,
Yeah.
through up that was like really well done. And
Fun
then
castle.
there's some good after that. It's a bumpy experience for me, that game. I like it a lot overall. It didn't make my 5, but it would
Too
be on
much-
a 10. A list
Too
of
much
10.
water, Mike.
No, I actually liked the boat stuff, the side stuff. I really enjoyed that. Just exploring the whole area. Using the map to do that was frustrating for me.
And you guys are
And
maps.
the aspects of 4 that they tacked onto this kind of just bummed me out because the attaché case never factors. There's never a point in this game where you're really having to manage it. You're just getting stuff and it's there.
Yeah.
You can upgrade it really quickly and it's just laughable. Like
Yeah.
this thing is so big I could just fit all this stuff in this.
Now, if you can put an extra large bass in that suitcase.
Right. Where the food stuff was like another thing. Like, oh, okay, I found the goat that has the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Magic goat.
I like that it felt good. Like I didn't like going and finding. I didn't think there was much there, but the reward was always solid. Like getting some extra health and stuff like that. I did like
I like
that.
nightmare difficulty.
Yeah.
It matters. So
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good game. Good game.
Yeah.
I like that game.
The game is good.
Some might say it's the second best game in the year.
Some might.
But the
It's-
number one spot for me, I had to, I thought long and hard about this one. I put it here fairly early, like pretty much right after I played it. I started making this list, and then there's a lot of talk about this game on podcasts and online and everything else, and it's a real, flip a coin and you'll get a take on this game. But for me, it worked more than it failed, and I think it's a real good representation of the game's year this year. We've had a very kind of, we've said it a million times in the spot, like it's kind of a down year for games, and like I could probably put eights on all my, like my top 5 are all like 8s out of 10,
Yeah.
games, and this is maybe the most 8 out of 10 game. But it was
The highest 8.
but it was the highest 8, and it's It Takes Two, from Hazelight
Ooh.
Studios, Joseph Ferris. I thoroughly enjoyed the environments in this game. I think you go to some wild places. You're two little characters in a giant world, kind of a trope that's been done a lot in games. It's kind of the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of situation, but the places they take you to and the way that they change the mechanics and the platforming and what you're doing everywhere that you're going to just works. Just like, I think it made perfect sense everywhere where you were. You're in a garden and you get a mechanic that makes sense there because you're making plants grow and things of that nature. You're in a snow world and you get to skate and do those kind of things. And there are like several environments and sections of this game where I could have filled probably a top 5 like moment list just from It Takes Two, just because you go into these worlds and you're like, holy shit, this is cool. There's just a lot of stuff I can do. The platforming feels great. And it's co-op, and that's the biggest thing is I love co-op games. I got to play it with Kayla from start to finish, and
That's fun.
it's built to, you cannot play it single player, like both technically you cannot, like you literally cannot. The game won't let you, but also it's built to be co-op. Like
Take that
every
challenge.
level, every challenge is made to be, confronted by 2 people, and I think it's just like the best version of that thing. It really gives you those like Portal 2 kind of co-op vibes where, you need your partner in every single way. You cannot just brute force it or anything like that. And the story, I think for a lot of people, that's what makes this game so, hated by some people. There's the Book of Love, and he's just like this kind of sort of racist stereotype of like a Latin lover thing that he does. It's not great. I don't like it, but those sections, like you'll play an hour of awesome platforming and cooperative gameplay, and then you'll get 5 minutes of the book just saying dumb shit, and for me, it didn't do enough to take away from all the fun I was having and the like the little moments and stuff. And there's some heartbreaking stuff, and it kind of ends on like a ambiguous ending, and it kind of worked for me because if it had just been one way or the other, like, oh, because it's a game about divorce. I've said that a couple times. It's a game about these 2 people who are like having marital troubles, and they're gonna go through a divorce, and their kid casts a magical spell on them basically to get them to not go through a divorce. And if you had ended on just like, oh, we got through our problems and because of magic, like that would have felt real hokey. And if it would have been the other way, like, we broke up, but we figured some things out, or that would have been pretty hokey too. So I like kind of where it ends as well. And it was just probably the most fun that I had start to finish. It was one of those games where I wanted to play again. You put it down, and then the next day you're like, man, I hope I get an hour to play this, kind of thing.
Okay.
It Takes Two's on my list too, and I was gonna use the ending kind of as a negative. I feel like you kind of changed my mind. Because I just felt like it was. I hate when things are unsaid, when it's like perfectly, this is what the story is about, and the people don't say it. Sometimes it really bothers me, especially when it's in like probably animated is what sticks out the most to me that bothers me for, because usually it's geared towards children. So I feel like just say it, like they're trying to work together, and they just, it feels like the story doesn't come to an ending, and the ending is everybody just walking down the street, and you're like, so what happened? Like Eric said, I thought it was going to be a negative, but like Eric said, I don't know what would have been the right way to do it.
I was just
Ambiguous.
afraid that if they didn't do it that way, that they could have ruined it. Like
Yeah.
there's an easy way to ruin that ending. And I would almost put my money on if they had said, yeah, we're gonna do a hard ending, we're gonna tell you everything, wrap everything up, that they would have done it poorly, I think. And so I think for this case, it worked for me at least. But you're not the first person to say that it's a negative either. Like there's a lot of talk out there that like, man, you're this ending was supposed to go a certain way and you didn't.
I think the story in general is pretty lacking, honestly. The best part of this is playing it. It's just so fun to play, and work together, and the scenes that you're in, the scenarios that you're put in are just so quirky and beautifully done, and it works so well. It's the story I don't care anything about, quite honestly. It's even like their banter between each other is not that believable either. I like a little bit of it. As you work through this, you go back and try to find what you as the person enjoy. Like they're not getting along, but they're not happy with themselves and not doing things that they love, that they used to love no more. They're just sad sacks. So they're
Going
trying
through
to
the motions.
reinvite the love for themselves as well. And so it takes you places. But
Feels.
they like argue with each other, and it's kind of quirky, dumb,
Family
not
game of the
really
year.
hard hitting stuff at that point.
Family game of the year.
Wow.
It gave us gimme fuel, gimme fire, gimme ignitable bee fluid. So
There you go.
And that's
Definitely a
such a
plus.
fun section too. Like just like that
Yeah.
paid off. I'm glad we made that joke and everything because it's super fun. Like you're throwing pollen on these bees and stuff, and then your partner is like igniting it and
Ignitable bee fluid. You're throwing
it's
not pollen. No. Did you play the right game?
oh shit! I played it. Like it takes 3. Oh man.
Oh, no.
But
Mary Kate
yeah.
and Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh,
I
you
think
got
the
you got
story is
all of
so
them.
light that, like, going back to the family game, like the story is so light, I don't think that it's that meaningful for even some kids to care about. Not that they wouldn't pick up on what they're trying to say, but it's not that.
Kids are not looking for story.
Right.
No, they're not.
And it's light. Like I said, they don't even say what they're trying to say. There's just, oh, well, what about you, Cody? Like, I don't know. It's just,
You did the accent really well.
is it real bad?
No, it's pretty good actually. It's kind of
Not as good as your
Yeah.
Keanu. Not as good as Keanu, but
yeah, it's no Johnny Silverhand, but yeah, I would say I recommend this game for anyone who can find a partner to play with. I think you can almost kind of what it seems like Kayla did, kind of just like tune out the story beats and stuff, and it's still a very like fun to play platformer that looks really good and has like I really unique stuff like mechanics that I've not seen in other games. I haven't played a ton of games in the genre recently. I bet you maybe some Mario stuff is retreading here, but like because it's done in a co-op way, I think it's going to be even unique, even if you play a lot of games in that like puzzle platformer space. So yeah, just really enjoyed my time with It
2
Takes Two.
thumbs up.
Nice. What I heard
Right.
was play Portal 2.
Order of the list. Order of our list.
All right, Tomas, what do you got for your top 5?
Oh man, I got games. I kind of put them in order during that whole thing, kind of. All right, so I guess I'll go from 5
It
to
takes
1.
5, man. Come on.
It Takes 5. No, game of the year, number 5. It Takes 5. No.
What?
No, my number 5 I put down. This was a heavy remake kind of year.
It was.
or like or
Yeah.
or
Gonna be for time.
anthology collection. Uh, uh, in lieu of picking like an anthology, which is just pretty much just a re-release of the same game, I picked the Pokemon remakes. So
Oh, okay.
both. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the difficulty increase, the bump, like how they make like the trainers, like, or at least the gym leaders and ace trainers play at like competitive levels. Like they'll like EV train their Pokemon and add like items that will like make them a little bit more broken than they usually are. Like this like I'm glad I normally like play a new Pokemon game and I try to like Nuzlocke it. I'm kind of glad I didn't with this one because it would have like stomped my
You would have
shit in.
lost your shit.
Yeah, I definitely would have restarted more than a few times.
Oh, man.
But yeah, overall I just enjoyed it. I didn't mind the chibi aesthetic. To me, I just wanted to replay a Pokemon game that I hadn't played in a long time with the new coat of paint, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that you can rebattle like the all the gym leaders and the Elite Four. Like go back through, they got new Pokemon, new set outs, and new loads. Adds a little extra to it, but to me, it's brass tacks Pokemon game. I like Pokemon a lot. It did what it needed to do. I didn't play terribly large amount of like any new generation video games, so a lot of my shit's gonna be like Switch related. So,
I
but
got some Switch, man.
yep. But yeah, to me, just brass tacks Pokemon game. I probably would have put Age of Empires 4 if I had played it. I wasn't sure if my computer could handle it, so. So
It's got
But you did.
some heft to it. It's got some
yeah,
heft.
I was looking at the loadouts and like mine could like I'd be playing probably at like medium settings. So um all right, so number 4, Mike, you turned me onto this one. Loop Hero. It's a
Nice.
very fun little indie title that I literally couldn't put down. Like the second Mike, like, yo, you got to get Loop Hero, bro. And
I
I was
knew you
like,
dig it, man.
and then I got it, and I love it. I still haven't beaten it. I'm on like the last loop.
Me neither.
Well, there's a lot of strategy to it, like in the idea that like you maintain like a village. Certain things that you build in your village can upgrade certain perks with your character. If you have storage, you can put certain items in it to give you certain loadouts and certain perks. They have this card system that you can like, it's like you create your environment as you're going around this loop, and some things will benefit you, some things won't. But some things help churn like the generation of items a little bit more, depending on what class you pick. It's really deep, and for such a like I guess what you would call a small game, there's a lot of switching. There's a lot of like I can play around with a lot of the moving parts of the game, and just like every time I play it, like I'm still down for it. And it's like one of my favorite just zone out. Like if we got something on in the background, and I'm not really into it, I can go through a couple loops. It's to me, like I'm very busy nowadays. I adult a lot, more than I would like to, and it's just such an easy game for me to pick up for a few minutes here and there, and that's definitely a good bathroom game too. So, but for the short amount of time that I played it this year,
Wait. Are you saying it should be called Poop Hero?
Could be. It's a
Okay.
Gets me through some of my darker ones.
Okay.
Nah, it's just really enjoyable game, and for like I've only been playing it for a few weeks, and like I still haven't been able to like really put it down. It's like my give me a break from something like bigger than I'm playing kind of game, and it just does that really well. But number 3, I put down The Adventures of Duncan, Idaho. We talked about we talked
Village.
about Resident Evil Village a lot. I already explained my bit on why I enjoyed it. Just the replayability of it for me was kind of what cinched it. I don't get why Eric doesn't enjoy the fact that you were a giant mushroom man the whole entire time, but holds together, airtight. But yeah, it was
Let's
just
say
fun game.
that's not the part of the plot that I disliked.
I just enjoyed the fact that like we kind of did it as a group thing too. I think
Yeah.
that made my experience with it a lot more fun.
Yeah, I agree.
One of my favorite pieces of homework to do for this podcast. So, all right. Number 2, I put down Monster Hunter Rise.
Oh yeah.
That game literally kicked the door open when it first came out for me. I still love it. It's still on my Switch. I play it every once in a while. I just wish I had
I
more
have fallen
time.
deeply back into the
Oh yeah.
Monster Hunter recently. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I just wish I had more time in my life for that. There was a time where, oh man, the hunts were marvelous. I still
Well, this
harken
game
back.
is so much better for that. Like
I
I feel
know.
like if you really just want to do one quick hunt, you can
Yeah,
easily get 3 other people with you to hunt anything in this game. I've
that's
never
true.
had a problem getting a full squad teamed up
But
with me, and you
but I
can
want
really
to
get
play.
those hunts done quick.
I want to play with you on the Wii U with
Ah, I
with my
know, I
3DS.
know, I know, I know. Times were better then.
Times are harder than like,
Yeah.
doing anything in that game was a fucking task. The fact that this game is
Yeah.
so fucking like this game is streamlined to the fucking gills. Like
hmm
you're right. It's so easy to just pick up and go like, like I think that's why I was able to get so hard into it when it first came out because like I could literally do a hunt a day if I wanted to. Sometimes if I had more time, I could do a couple hunts. You know, but yeah, I just really enjoyed it, and it's so cool to just see how like better that series has gotten. Just you know, quality of life wise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sure.
Go ahead.
I fought guess like the final story monster,
I forget
and
what its name was.
it's
The
like a
fucking
thunder dragon kind of thing. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm still there's
yeah,
still
you know
more
how
to
those
do.
games are. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
always some kind of action. You got to fight like the fucking elder dragons and shit too at some
but
point probably.
these games always do like a big set piece kind of elder
Yeah,
dragon battle, and they always just suck in my
yeah,
experience. This one was really well done. It made me really the game seemed really easy to me because I've mastered kind of the insect glaive weapon, and
yeah.
I can really fuck. Not many monsters give me a hard time with that weapon. And this monster, it was just like this incredibly huge. It was almost like a Shadow of the Colossus fight, but with just
Okay.
Monster Hunter mechanics mixed in. I'm really just flying through the air. He's shooting these big fucking thunder rings at me. I'm dodging them in the air, and
Uh,
it was really cool fight.
Fucking zip lines are the bomb.com. The fucking
Yeah. Everything they've added to the game, I like.
wire
Uh,
bugs, riding your mount.
oh yeah.
Just
Just
like yeah,
they want people to play this game, and it makes sense, like
yeah.
to make all these changes.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm really
Yes.
pumped for the expansion coming out this year, Daybreak. I think that's when
Get
we
back
got to
into
do
it.
it. We got to
Yeah.
get
I
in.
would love to play it.
You guys have a Switch now, so
Oh yeah.
I
Let's
would
do
love
it.
we'll
to.
get on Discord channel and I'll yell at you guys for not being good enough. So
I would, I would, I would certainly start. I would start a new character.
oh
So
man, that'd be wonderful. Yeah.
New run.
That sounds like a oh, we gotta do that. All right.
Let's do it.
New game of the
ah,
year. Monster Hunter
maybe
Rise.
our cartridge,
Just,
cartridge crash. I don't know what to call our a disc dive for.
We'll work on that one, I think.
Well, when's the remake of Final Fantasy IX coming out? They're
Tomorrow.
doing that
Not
one
soon
next,
enough.
right?
Yeah. Can't wait.
All right. And number one, I mean, I already told you guys it was on my list, and I haven't said it yet. So, Metroid, Metroid Dread. We talked a lot about it. My main reasons is like it's the end of like the storyline in Metroid that I followed, like as a kid, coming to this point. And I have played them all. I played Metroid One. I played Metroid 2. I've played all the remakes of them, all the 2D Metroids. That was my jam. I'm not saying anything bad about the 3D ones. I just didn't really play them. And it's kind of the culmination of all of that story. And they put together a lot of the mechanics that worked. They streamlined the movement a lot. It was just cool, and it was kind of cool. Like at the end, it's like that little baby Metroid. He just always saving you the whole entire game series, and then you become the Metroid. It's like, but no, I just really enjoyed it. I was really hyped about its announcement. It was cool to hear that it was a continuation of the Fusion series. And I just like I don't know, man. It's like I'm a big Metroid mark, as Eric would say. you know, and I was super hyped when the game came out, and it was just one of those games that like I picked it up and I didn't put it down until I finished it. Like it was literally the only thing I played until I was done. I beat that game in probably like 2 days, which is impressive. Like
Wow.
given, yeah, like
It's long. It's not a short game. Yeah.
yeah, but and I don't have much free time nowadays, but like I was just enthralled and I wanted to keep going. I love the the dread elements, those fucking Emmys. Like that was a really cool concept because if you played Fusion, they had the SAX, which was like pretty much a clone of you going around with all your strongest advancements. Same kind of concept. Except, it's like, in this one, you had the counter mechanic, so you could actually do something about it. If you ran into the SAX and Fusion, it just pretty much pushed your shit in. And it was like, the whole entire. But, that game did a really good job of telling you, it's like, don't fuck with this thing. Run away from it if you see it. It's like.
Right.
And I like that element because Metroid's supposed to be like about isolation and, being alone. And they tell you, it's like you start off with nothing every game, no loadout. And it's like survivability rates are like 1%, it's like, and they do a good job at making you feel like that. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, game number one, Metroid
I
Dread.
think one thing that I didn't mention when I was talking about Dread, and you brought it up, like how it's a continuation of the story. I went in, like I said, like this is
Yeah,
my first
first
Metroid
Metroid.
ever. I think it did a good job of kind of summing up the
Mhm.
what has happened up until this point, to where I didn't feel like, oh, I was missing some element of the
Yeah.
story or something like
This
that.
was
Like
some big reveal.
The story
Right,
has always
yeah.
been light.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't really overstay its welcome. It really just gives you like
In the
big
video,
big
you can
hits.
you can jump down some rabbit holes if you go online trying to figure out about this series. But
Yeah, who needs
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. ask them. But yeah, that's me. That's my top 5 video games. It's
Nice.
like four out of 5 of them were on the Switch. So,
Nothing wrong
Switch
with
game
that.
of the year.
Pretty decent year for the Switch, I think.
I enjoyed it.
Kayla,
Yeah.
what do you got?
For my best games, I have number 5. I have Kina Bridge of Spirits. And this
Nice.
one I put
Ooh.
on here because I just think that it really deserves recognition.
Okay.
I think it could be better polished. It did have some bumps, but it was very good first effort. This was that studio's first game.
Oh wow.
And they're
Timberland.
normally like an animating studio, right?
Yeah, they do like CGI and animations for
Yeah,
movies and
so
stuff like that.
it's so pretty. It's super cute. I think this could be like a really fun family game. It's really about grief and like,
Oof.
letting go and letting people pass over to the other side, basically. You know,
Oh,
she's
okay.
the bridge of spirits. She helps tormented spirits pass over and has to like get them to accept their like whatever they're holding on to. So it's really fun in that aspect, and they all wear these like masks, and it's just really cute and fun, and deep. The gameplay mechanics themselves could have been better like explained. There are a lot of mechanics that they don't really walk you through, but could be like a part of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Super pretty. I mean, insanely pretty.
Yeah, I always think this game is assume that it's like made by Sony directly, but it's
Right.
independent
Um,
studio, really
I
punching above their
found
weight, it seems.
I found it really challenging to play. Like Eric and I kind of went back and forth playing this one. Um, and there were the scene where these enemies just keep popping out of this like vessel,
Yeah.
this enemy producing vessel. And I guess you're supposed to like send your little rat guys there, these little cute black creatures that follow you around and help you with battle. And you're supposed to like then pulse and they explode. And I didn't know that. And Eric was sleepy. And I played for like an hour. I'm like, I can't get past this. They just keep coming. I send them there. They don't do anything. What am I supposed to do? So that
At some
sucked. And
moments
Eric's
with
like,
games
oh, you
like
gotta
that.
press L1. I'm like, thanks.
Favorite part of this podcast, Eric was sleepy.
I was.
um so like I got really upset at that point, but I think the combat's really difficult. I had a lot of trouble with it, and there were bosses that Eric had a lot of trouble with that like it worked because then I coach him. It helps. Then you got, two sets of eyes. I'm like, all right, he's getting ready to do that one move, dodge. But it worked then. But they were tough. They kind of reminded me of like some difficult Dark Souls kind of battle-esque like
shit.
situations.
I was just gonna say it's like a stealth Souls-like. I don't think a lot of people have called it that, but like the enemies, especially like the boss enemies, are very Souls-like. I mean, they're tough. Like there's limited resources. Like you have like limited amounts that you can heal. And
Oof.
there's kind of always a trick almost to every like a loop in the battle that you're supposed to kind of memorize almost. And definitely gave me a lot of Souls-like feels in some of the larger like boss battles and stuff like that. And the size too. Like you're fighting big like creatures and stuff a lot. Sometimes it's human-sized creatures, but like sometimes it's fill the screen size creatures as well.
There's a little bit of exploring, which I always enjoy. I could have done with more exploring. The game itself is kind of short. So number 5, Kina Bridge of Spirits. I think it's worth playing.
Okay. You said it's
Um,
the studio's first venture into making a game,
Yeah,
to
first game.
gaming. Mm-hmm.
so have to
And
keep
it's
an
set
eye.
up for sequels, I think.
Oh,
I
fun.
think, yeah.
Sony really marketed it like strong. It seems like they're invested in it, so
Go
probably
IPO.
see another one.
Number 4, I'm surprised that Eric didn't have this on his list, is Psychonauts.
Ooh,
Um,
Psychonauts Dose.
Psychonauts, another one of those games where you delve into psyches and the worlds are ridiculously creative. Like, because that's what Rasputin does. He's like this telepath, but he dives into brains, and you get to like explore these people's problems and brains and try to help them accept whatever problem they have going on top of weird world domination happening in the Psychonauts University School CIA group. This was my first experience with Psychonauts, and we watched a recap, but they did a really good recap right before playing it.
Okay.
The art style reminds me of like 90s Nickelodeon, weird kind of clayey,
Yeah.
It does.
off the wall ear flower type things. Yeah, it was
A lot of asymmetrical faces in.
It just felt like you were in. I just really gave me like 90s Nickelodeon feels, like even just tromping around the courtyard.
Some of the humor too, I think, like, is 90s Nickelodeon as well, I would say. Like,
But it was fun. The rest we've kind of already talked about. Number 3, I have Resident Evil 8. Tomas brought up a great point where he said just because we all played it together, it was like such an anticipated game, and we all kind of got to talk about it right away. Was a lot of fun. I enjoyed just the experience that it was surrounded with.
Okay.
Number 2, I have It Takes Two.
Ooh.
Great gameplay, lacking of story. Number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy. Total opposite.
Ooh.
Great story, a little less gameplay.
Okay.
Nice.
yeah, on Psychonauts 2, you said it was surprising that it wasn't on my list. It was Psychonauts 2 or Age of Empires 4, and I just had
It's
to
definitely
like.
gonna be AOE.
You made the right pick here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Psychonauts 2 was a hell of a game, but I had to do the one for me, you know? I had to
It
do.
is
Oh,
the most
absolutely.
creative thing I've like ever seen. It was just ridiculously flooded with stuff.
I did the opening section of it, which is the dentist stuff.
Yeah, probably the worst part.
Okay, well,
It
shouldn't
starts
put the
kind
worst
I
of.
part
forgot all
in the
about that
beginning.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If the game
Blacked it out.
game starts out like shit, I don't know. I kind of just I couldn't soldier through on that one. I did not like how the platforming felt
Ooh.
at all in that game, and it felt like the PS2 version.
You get
Oh wow.
like more abilities and stuff to help with
Feel
that.
good. The controls are a little iffy. It's a little like Metroid Dread, where you're using too many fingers almost, like switching between powers and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
when it's going well, like when you've got the right powers equipped and the place that you're at works with the powers you have equipped and stuff, you can really float through those levels like with some speed and some. It feels good. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's worth to keep going. Like if you ever get in a rut on something else, I think, maybe give it another shot. I don't know. But what
Maybe.
was better than it this year, Mike?
My number 5, Death's Door. I played this one on Xbox, but I think it's available on Switch now. It's like a Zelda Souls Z kind of game. Very cool art style. You play as like a crow, and the crows are in charge of collecting the spirit of the people who have passed. I believe, like collecting the debts, I guess. And they bring them back, and the hub world is like this, like Orson Welles kind of newspaper, like big officey kind of vibe to it. It's like almost black and white, and you eventually find out that the doorways back to this place were cut off at a point, and all the agents that were out there were trapped and died. So you're also kind of collecting their souls on your adventure and really unraveling the story as to why the Lord of Doors did this and his kind of story. And you find out that there's been a lineage of Lord of Doors, and they're like the Watcher from What If, kind of. They know everything that's going to happen. And you find out, there's a point in the game you're reading about each one, and well, not everyone, but certain ones. And they kind of all have to deal with this fact that they know that when they're going to die, though they know when their time is up as the Lord of Door, and some of them that kind of go cuckoo with this knowledge. And the current Lord of Doors did that, and he does not want to die. He finds a loophole. He traps death in like his own like white, like think of like when Morpheus takes Neo to the just all white kind of dimension, whatever you want to call that plane, and traps Death there, and that's your mission. You have to save Death from his imprisonment, and it's really fun. It has really snappy, cool combat. The story is really funny at times. The characters remind me of like a Ghibli style, really exaggerated. There's like a witch with like a really giant head and
Exaggerated features.
yes, yeah. There's a character just named Pothead. His head just got turned into a pot.
10 out of 10. Game of the year.
And
I
there's
didn't
these
know I was in this game.
I was about to
right.
say.
But what really shines is these big elaborate boss fights that are really pretty. There's one where you're just fighting like a moving tower, and it's launching these barrage of missiles, and the smoke effects that are coming off are really cool. Just a fun, cool indie title. I really, really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Number 4, I thought Eric might have it, is Forgotten City for me. The best loop game of the year for me was Forgotten City. Started out as a Skyrim mod. You're basically you're kind of a modern day person who stumbles upon this city that looks like an ancient Greek or Roman city, and you find out that if any sin is committed, then like these golden statues around the city come alive and kill everyone
Oh,
in the
fuck.
city, like turn them all to gold. But you have the ability to start the day over again, and you have to. It's like a mystery of who is in control of this, and you're slowly like figuring out, the whole narrative of it. And that part's is done pretty well. I wish it was more puzzly. A lot of it, a lot of the stuff I kind of stumbled upon and figured out of order, I think, in a way. But certain parts really stood out. Narratively, there's a part where you're going underground, and you discover this character who used to live above. You find out, and that basically this has been going on for centuries and centuries, and like the Egyptians were pushed down by this group that eventually started coming. Like, you find out that this is like the land of the dead, and
oh shit,
new religions and new ideals are being introduced, and the old ones are going away, and just the hypocrisy of it all, and what is right, what is wrong, ethically. And I've heard this game described as like a college level philosophy course or something like that. Well, it worked on me. Like, I don't know, I didn't take that course.
I took a few of them, so
it was just like wow, okay, this is really clicking for me at that moment. And I like the ending as well. You kind of find out that a god has been in control of this, and it's like an alien god, like he's in a spaceship overlooking Earth at the end, and it's all on a bet. And you have to like prove to him about that there's a loop and stuff like that. And I thought it was well done. There's a really cool mechanic with the looping part where there's a guy that will introduce himself to you at the beginning of every loop, and you can just tell him like, hey, tell that one guy that he has arthritis. Tell that one chick, don't go in that house, it falls down on her. You got to win this election. And like, it's really good at just being able to quickly do all of that
okay,
housekeeping stuff to keep the story moving along. And I really enjoyed it.
And the dialogue choices are a lot of fun in that, because you can be real literal too on a lot of that stuff. Like, just say like, yeah, I'm from the future, and just believe me, like.
Oh, all right, then he just runs off, and then
pulling a Terminator.
This is a Skyrim mod, so everything looks very familiar if you've played
okay.
Skyrim. And
oh yeah,
Yeah, some certain things I wish were expanded on, but overall, it was just like fun surprise.
Okay.
This year for me.
Good ass game.
Number
Fun.
3, I have Metroid Dread.
Yeah. Go Dread.
Really enjoyed it. Might be my favorite Metroid. Just when you boot the game back up and just that seeing Samus just standing tall and just looking fucking awesome in this game.
Did a
In the
really
save
good
points,
job with her. Yeah.
like yeah, Samus rocks. Like
She's
I
the
thought
bee's
the
knees.
reveal at the end was really cool on
Mhm.
who the final villain, well, who the villain has
Yeah.
been the whole time.
Fucking something
Re-
beak.
and it's an, I guess, classified action adventure, Metroidvania, whatever. The action is so good in this game. Didn't really dig the adventure as much, but man, just the boss fights. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed just finding the rhythm of them. I didn't mind losing because it's like, okay, all right, I know
Get good.
I have I'm getting the tech, I'm getting the info. And that final fight, I love it when a game you just feel like it's all put together. You have to use your whole toolkit and really know what to do against it, and just really enjoyed the game.
That final fight would be impossible if they didn't improve the mobility of that game.
Yeah, it feels really good to
Yeah, like that
dodging
final
it.
fight felt really good. Like any mistake I made was mine, not the game's. Um, that's the part that I really enjoyed about it. But yeah, game of the year.
Yeah.
Third game of the
Num-
year.
Number 2, I have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Couldn't play it.
Yeah, I know it's a tough one. It's PS5 exclusive, but it was the reason I really wanted my PS5. So glad I got to play it. Uh, Visually, it does that thing where it it just looks so good, and it's what I remember the PS2 ones looking like. It looks like, excuse me, a Pixar movie
Oh, that's
level
awesome.
quality.
I'm glad
Oh,
you
it,
got
it
that same
looks
feel
so
from it.
good. Um, the effects that they do with the guns and the enemies, weapons and everything look really nice. And I don't know, these games for me are just like they're the warm blanket, hot cup of cocoa games for me. Like
Mhm.
I would play one every 2 years. Uh, I love the action, shooty platforming stuff. The weapons are very fun and creative in this as they always are. And Insomniac, like I've said, just know they make good ass fucking games. Like they make games that are fun to play with fun stories, and this is just a continuation of that for them. Really enjoyed it.
You've been hyping these guys since the lunch table in high schools. It's like I remember you talking about a
Yeah,
lot of video games, but other than Kingdom Hearts 2 coming out, it was usually this game. So,
played all of those PS. I've played pretty much every Ratchet, and this is one of the best ones. It's really good, really solid.
awesome.
Um, my number 1 is Monster Hunter.
Woo!
Wow.
Game. Good game is good.
It is. It's just so good. Uh, the monsters are so good. That is really
You're
what
always a
sells
sucker
it
for
for
monsters,
me.
bro.
I just love encountering a new monster and finding out what I could potentially look like after I fight this monster. And like, ooh, wow, that looks yeah, I base it off of the stats, of course, because every kind
Yeah,
of
you have to.
set of armor comes with its own things that it
Perks.
gives, like
Yeah.
perks, and maybe it's for a ammo build, like a
Yeah.
projectile weapon build, or maybe you just want to be able to sharpen really fast.
I'll
I
never
want to look
forget.
like a Beetleborg, or I want to look like a big, bulky armor man, a castle. I want
Yeah,
to.
you do love your big stupid looking like my first set of
Yeah,
armor in this new one that I made it a point to build was was it fucking Brachiodos? You fucking look like a mountain.
yes, I always like looking like a giant chess piece. I always make point to do.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah,
I'll never forget like running into the Zinogre for like the first time when we were playing. It's like, oh my god, I gotta wear that motherfucker. It's like,
Yeah, it's certain monsters will just stick out to you, and you're like, yeah, I
they just like
I
fucking
want to
boss.
dominate that one. I want to get their plate, their gem.
Yes, the
I will
live
pull the
gems.
pants from your gem.
Getting a little
Dragon.
raunchy. I don't know. This is a kids program, guys.
This
Family
game's
game.
so good. Dude. You gotta play this game. Like,
Oh.
And it's just the perfect, like Tomas said, like pick up and play kind of thing. The story exists in it.
it's good way of saying it.
You know, you can really test out your A button, you know, skipping through
Big time, yeah.
that stuff. But
Speedrun
it's
tech.
yeah, yeah, it's just fun, and it just keeps going. It's you know, like let's keep hunting, let's keep finding new stuff.
I'm so happy you put this on your list, Mike. I didn't expect Game of the Year, but just this series.
It's the game I played the most. I had just the most fun with.
Yeah, it's. God,
Well,
it's
Eric,
just so fun.
what do you kind of have as a consensus so far? There are a lot of double
A lot of
up.
doubles, yeah.
Yeah, so we got
And
13
triples.
total.
Resident
we
Evil's
got
definitely on there. We got 3
Yeah.
people
Right.
on that.
Yeah, so we got
Metroid
I
Dread.
think the 3 that are kind of locked in are probably Resident Evil Village, Metroid
Metroid.
Dread, and Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter
Yeah.
Rise.
Two we both had.
Whoa. Yeah. It takes
Yeah,
2.
I wanted
You guys had it.
talk
I did-
about that. We had 13 total. You know, and we need to find 2 more.
I'm gonna say Age of Empires 4 Game of the Year.
Yeah, that was gonna be my vote. So I loved It Takes Two. So did Kayla. I know you guys didn't get to play
I didn't play it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put that one a little bit on the back burner. Just for now. I did thoroughly enjoy The Forgotten City. I thought Mike said, you know, people have said that it's like, oh, it's a beginning philosophy class or whatever else, but I think it captivates you in kind of the same way. Like if you take a 101 philosophy class and you're like, oh my God, the guy, like, he gets it, man. He just gets life and how history has worked and stuff. And that's a little bit what this game is. It's a real basic ass version of that, but like
Yeah.
it's still kind of right. There ain't nothing wrong that it's basic.
Yeah. Like basic is good because like, you know, the idea of taking a 101 philosophy course is just to get you engaged in the thought process.
To learn the basics.
Yeah, to learn the basics. It doesn't mean you're going to get all the answers, or you can take a million philosophy courses. You're not going to get all the answers
That's
to the world.
the point of philosophy.
One will argue that everything is subjective and there are no objective truths. But I've taken plenty of courses. I still have all the textbooks at my mother's house. But you know, it's like it's just fun, like thought experiments. And like, you know, the people are probably saying, "Oh, it's just basic philosophy shit." Like, they're the ones who probably have the philosophy degrees and make no money with the rest of their career because all they can do is become a philosophy teacher. So it's like, stop overthinking it and just enjoy the ride, you know? And
Yeah.
if
What
that's
did you
got
think
out of it.
of it, Kayla? What did I know you love Skyrim, and this is basically, you know, just one big Skyrim mod.
Remember having like issues. You do know something, but you can't like go to the right person and say it. They don't like give you that dialogue option. That was kind of annoying at times. Where like you know something and you're talking to the person who needs to know it, but you can't tell them that it's not an option. Would be frustrating. I enjoyed it.
Okay. We'll put that one maybe on the back burner too. Was Guardians on your list as well, Kayla?
You
Yeah.
both had Guardians.
Number 1, yeah.
Yeah.
It is my number one.
I think it's a thoroughly enjoyable game. Really good. Oh, so Loop Hero. So Tomas, you really loved it. Mike, I
Oh,
think
fuck
you
yeah.
like Loop Hero
I
quite
like
a
it a
bit,
lot,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Second best loop game of the year.
Yes.
There's a lot of loop games this
There were a
year.
lot of loop games this year.
This was just the one that I played the fuck out of. So,
Mhm.
and I,
Been
like
playing a lot of Ring Fit recently. That's a loop. It involves ring. So yeah.
Mm.
I mean, the Forgotten City sounds like a really enjoyable ride. I just saw that it's actually on the Switch, so I'm probably gonna get it. So
It's
that's it.
tough. I mean, I can't see us making a list without Guardians or It Takes Two. There at least has to be one of them on there.
We got 2
Yeah.
spots, right?
We do.
Well, if we don't do the Forgotten City, I think Forgotten City, man, I like It Takes Two and Guardians better than Forgotten City, but I think it's a good take on it. Probably is the best loop game this year. I've played a ton of loop games this year, and
Death Poop.
like it does a lot of cool things. I do like its philosophy 101. I like its take on history too, like how history builds upon itself. I like that it felt like Skyrim. It was cool going back to that.
Right. I'm fine with Forgotten City being on there.
Okay.
But we have one more slot.
Right.
For Guardians.
For
fine
Guardians
with
over It Takes Two, Kayla, what do you think?
That's how my list goes.
You guys sold me on Guardians more than
Yes,
It Takes Two.
absolutely. You guys kind of unsold me on It Takes Two with your.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to
honestly.
play. It's so much fun to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still want to play it, but
Eric made me want to play Portal 2 more than I wanted to play It Takes Two with this pitch. So
Damn.
so
played it recently. It's still very good.
it is a very good game.
Well, do you want something on our game list? I think both of us said that It Takes Two is a better playing game. Like if we're looking at mechanics and the playability and the creativity of that as
Yeah.
a video game, or do you want something that's just a playable Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
I come away like impressed that
That's
they
the first
nailed
one.
the narrative part of it. I don't know. I thought that would be what really fell. I thought it would just be, nails on a chalkboard kind of thing. With these characters, I don't know. I just didn't think they could pull it off, especially Square publishing this.
Yes, they botched their other Marvel venture prior to this. I
Yeah.
understand. So,
Avengers, yeah.
yeah.
Where
so.
no
being
one.
Guardians, cool.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I agree with Mike. You guys made a better sales pitch for Guardians.
Okay. So, do we feel all right about a games list that looks like this? Resident Evil Village, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Metroid Dread, Monster Hunter Rise, and The
Got 2
Forgotten
on.
City.
Is that 1 to 5 or 5 or any particular order?
We didn't really rank them in the past. I just like having a
Yeah,
Just
the
I
the
was gonna
nonsense
ask,
part
I
of
wasn't
this,
sure.
yeah,
just
that's the nonsense.
we
Well,
get
we
to
got our
5.
top 5s.
Yeah.
We got another hour to rank these.
For real.
Right.
You got 2 of my games of the year on there, so I'm happy. So
We're good then. Yeah.
I feel really good about Forgotten City making it. I think
I'm downloading it right now. So
Awesome.
I'm downloading Death's Door and Forgotten City at the moment. So
Death's Door is on my short list. I gotta get
So-
that one. I know Ryan as
Really good.
well. We should mention Ryan really liked Death's Door as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't submit a list this time, so he doesn't count. But
Right.
he doesn't count.
It's a good. It's a good.
All right, on to movies then. I'll start it off as is customary. My number 5 movie of the year was The Suicide Squad. We talked about this quite a bit in moments and in previous pods. I just really like the tone of this movie. It didn't take itself too serious. A lot of the DC movies really do. This one did not. This was just fun. This was just fun, graphic, intense action, and just the humor hit. the action hit for me, like just everything kind of worked in this one. I just had a fun time and a bunch of fun characters like Polka Dot Man and Peacemaker and all of them. They just kind of worked together as a team. So the Suicide Squad.
Made my list.
Nice. Number 4, way back when, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Whoop, whoop.
We had a
Made
whole
my
pod
list.
on this one. Just a really powerful movie, powerful message, a story I knew nothing about, and just really cool. Kayla said that she'd want to watch it like once a year or something like that. I wouldn't necessarily call it the most rewatchable movie for
No.
myself, just because it's like painful a little bit. It's like it's a tough watch at points, but it's great. It's just a really great movie. Thoroughly
On my
enjoyed it.
list.
Some excellent performances as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's by far.
Number 3, The Last Duel. I mentioned in our best moments, the actual duel at the end of this took my breath away. I just held my breath the whole time. The choreography is fantastic and everything. And the movie's just really good too. It's a tough watch. Again, like the subject matter
What
is
you're
kind of
saying.
rough. You get to like see a very traumatic moment through 3 people. Like they play the same moment 3 different times.
Ooh.
And it's through different perspectives and stuff. And it works for the narrative, like, you're supposed to, like, "Oh, whose side are you on?" or whatever else, and you kinda myself, at least, I ended up on no one's side. I mean, pretty much, just it just made me feel bad, really, more than anything. But
Stay in your own lane, buddy.
to culminate it, at the end with this just big spectacle of a duel and done in that classic, Ridley Scott style of just, knowing how to put together a historical battle, really worked. Really, really worked for me.
I watched
Um,
this last night, man, and the old man's got it. Like,
Fuck yeah.
yeah, Eric, you undersold the duel. I thought you should have, after watching it, you should have fought harder. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. It was a very good duel.
No, man, it's so good. It's so good.
Uh,
All right, now I gotta watch it. I was gonna watch this, and then my girlfriend started reading the synopsis of the movie.
Ooh.
She was like, "This sounds like a hard watch." I was like, "Yeah,
It
Eric
is.
did mention that." So,
And
I
I'm
may have
sure
to-
for, like, some people, it's very, like, triggering,
Mhm.
yeah, of course.
That's
Yeah.
what I
so
understood. Yeah.
I can't fault anyone if they're just like, "Nah, I'm gonna take a pass on this one. It's too heavy for me." But like, if
It's
you can,
uncomfortable.
if you can get through it and stuff, I think
I can
it's
get
worth
through
it.
anything.
I continue to feel great about my Adam Driver season tickets. He's just, gosh, what a man. What an
Yeah, kind
actor.
of. Yeah, in every way that Rami Malek was a disappointment this year, Adam Driver was just continuing on his upward
So good.
trajectory.
There it is. One last pop shot.
I forget the actress's name, but the main actor who plays
Jodie Comer.
Margaret, yeah, she did a really great job, and the movie does a. I think it's really Ridley kind of he made Thelma and Louise. Like, yeah, he can make these big actiony epic things, but he can really kind of tell a movie about a woman's perspective. I think pretty well too, which is I think people forget,
Impressive.
and just the how awful you know things can be when tied to things they don't understand, when they like that's the god's will to if you shall live or die now, it's up to things like that,
Well,
and how
antiquated.
awful it was to be a woman at any time in our history. uh I think it highlights that pretty well.
Squirm watching this movie.
Mm,
Solid, great, really good movie, really good.
definitely gonna have to watch it by myself then.
Yeah, you
sounds-
might.
Sounds pretty rough, man.
Yeah. Number 2, another potentially tough watch. The Father, way back when, back in February.
Back in the long ago.
Yeah, I had this on my Oscars list, and it won, right? So,
Hey.
just really cool. I guess I'll just kind of repeat the things I said back then. Just a really cool take on like a dementia, Alzheimer's, things of that nature that I don't understand. I don't think any of us fully understand, and it does it in a really cool. I don't know if "cool" is the right way, but a really unique visual, gripping way that really had me going the whole time. You know, it's almost a mystery, a little bit about what is going on in this movie, and then you kind of they wrap everything up at the end. You know exactly what was going on, and
Heartbreaking.
yeah, it's both heartbreaking, but the performances are also fantastic, so you're kinda riveted by, Anthony Hopkins and, Olivia Colman, and
Mm.
just yeah,
Hell
I
yeah.
mean,
The
so
fada.
good.
Yeah.
And, I guess I should have asked whether this was a movie or not, but, my number 1
Oh
movie
wow.
of the year is Bo Burnham's Inside. Um,
I
this
guess.
It's definitely a movie.
Yeah.
Definitely a
my
movie.
list.
Good.
Tells a story.
Because this is the movie that's lived on for me the most this year. With I just listened to the soundtrack like
Waking
every
moment.
couple weeks, like every couple like
That bad
uh
boy was everywhere.
and there's both a ton of hilarity. Bo Burnham's pretty funny dude, pretty good comedian. But there's some deep shit in this. Things that we've kind of all felt, I think, regardless of the pandemic and all of that stuff. Obviously it's twinged with a lot of that. Being stuck inside and blah blah blah. But just
Yeah.
just living in our like current world with social media, with how our politics are right now, just
Ugh.
everything that's going on in the world right now, and the internet and everything else. I think it does it in a very satirical, very biting way, but also very like affecting. Like it's man, I feel a lot of ways about a lot of these things, and that it's
Good
Bo
way of putting it.
Burnham's version of that. And I think he just does a tremendous job with all of that. And then also it's just super visually
The
fucking
craft.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Everything he put together, these sets in this, like
Yeah.
condo or whatever he's got that he's in, these small spaces where he's just doing all these lights and these mixers, and I can't even begin to. It's hard enough, producing a podcast. Like I don't know, like I can't imagine what this dude was doing. And if it's all legit, if it all was like a one man show, like he claims it was, then
I believe
bravo.
it.
Just
Yeah.
fucking bravo. Like it's really cool. So Bo Burnham's Inside, number 1
Yeah,
for
it,
me.
it
Good
made
pick.
my list too, and just there's a part in the opening number. It's a really synthy one, and there's just like this effect in the song, and I just knew like, okay, yeah,
You're in. You're in.
I'm in it. I take me there, Bo. And I don't know, top to bottom, every song's really good. Some stand out more than others. Some just leave you wanting more, like Office Intern or whatever, Unpaid Intern. It's just a fun, jazzy song, man, and just like
When he
it's
starts scatting, I wish that scat just kept going.
it's so good. It's yeah,
So good. It's so impressive. It's just it really hits. I think it just gave such life to what we were all feeling in such a comical, like relief way that was fun to watch.
yeah. I think he puts a light on the silly, stupid aspects of our everyday life during this time,
Oh
and
yeah.
the more menacing and bigger things too. He does a fun way of doing that. There's one where he's just welcome to the internet, blah, and it gets darker and darker, and um, yeah, I it was a triumph. I think
Yeah,
that
what a mind.
that it exists.
Hmm.
Good list.
That funny
Yes.
feeling,
That
You-
funny feeling.
Oof. Oof. Don't do that. Don't make me cry in this pod, Mike. Don't do
Oh,
it.
Jeffrey. Jeffrey.
so
Tomas, what
So
do
good.
you got for movies 2021?
so I don't know if I prefaced the podcast, but I know I talked to you guys beforehand. I didn't watch a lot of movies this year. I didn't get out a lot. Um, I don't know, just didn't happen. And the
You
movies
got
that I
Gladiator
saw,
5 times.
yeah, I got Gladiator 1, Gladiator 2.
Ridley fucking Scott, man. He just does.
Fucking, I got the scene where Marcus Aurelius is talking about. Nah,
You knew Juan Soto.
you knew Marcus Aurelius. Um, so yeah, I this was probably the one I struggled with the most. But yeah, first one, kind of a joke, kind of a shot at Ryan, because I did legitimately see this movie. I put down Thunder Force.
Nice.
Cinema.
I don't remember much about it, but I remember watching it.
That's what counts when making a list.
Oh boy, starting off strong. Thunder Force.
Shout out to Octavia Spencer. She's
Yeah,
Hell
so,
yeah.
but all right. Number 4, I put down Green Knight, not necessarily because of the story, but visually speaking, it was the most beautiful thing I've seen all year.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
cinematography in that movie was gorgeous. The backdrops, I guess, a lot of the principal photography was done in like Ireland, and just all the shots. I loved the long shots that they did, like the single shots where they just continue to pull away, like where he's like riding on his horse and shit. I just loved just the direction and the shots of that movie. It was amazing. Like, so yeah, and I just recently watched that because you guys were talking. It was that or The Last Duel. And it was like, so
Probably a great double feature in a sense.
Green Knight won out on that one. And let's see, pulling from the way back machine. Number 3, Mortal Kombat.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Right on.
It was just another one. Like I said, I didn't watch a lot of movies. Like, literally, this is probably like the 5 movies I watched this year. So, and not only is it my top 5, it is my only 5. But it's just another one of those. It wasn't a perfect movie, but I enjoyed that. Like, we made a thing of it. We had the podcast on it.
It was fun.
It was fun listening to Mike talk about Kano as potentially one of the greatest characters of the year on the last one of these.
Linchpin of that fucking movie. It's
just a lot more fun when you're interacting with it, with other people. Takes me to a different place. So number 2 and number 1, little hard. Kind of putting them there. One's I just recently saw one, and one just because it's had enough staying power to make it through the whole entire year. So take it or leave it for whichever one you think's 1 or 2. But I picked Shang-Chi, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I was a little worried about my boy Simu Liu when Kim's Convenience was canceled, but then he got that Marvel money.
He signed up with the Mouse Gang, Jack. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's with the Mouse Gang. He's doing pretty well for himself.
Gang.
I just really enjoyed the movie. It was a fun, like, martial arts, like, kind of romp. You didn't have to, there's not lightning. There's not, fucking, giant aliens smashing into shit. It was a little bit more grounded as far as, like, a Marvel movie.
Till the end.
Till
And
the
it was
end.
really cool.
It was still really cool at the end, yeah. And I enjoyed it, like, thoroughly the whole entire time, except for the Shang-Chi no kissy.
Yeah.
And it was a talking point throughout the whole entire movie between me and my girlfriend. I was just like, it's like, are these two gonna like, do the thing? Or it's
No.
like,
No.
it's like I'm waiting the whole entire movie, waiting for, like, but yeah, that was probably the only drawback on that. But I enjoyed the visuals. I enjoyed the martial arts. I enjoyed the story. It was just a fun movie. And I was glad that it finally got to like the free portion of Disney Plus.
Hmm.
Nice.
And then yeah, the last one is Judas and the Black Messiah. Um, the beginning is the end, pretty much. We started off, that was like our first movie we talked about on this bad boy. Yeah, like Eric said, not necessarily the most rewatchable movie on the planet, but what it did very effectively. Um, Hit the whole like range of emotions for me. Uh, I laughed, I cried, I cheered. I did everything for that movie. It made me feel some kind of way, and especially in a very trying time. So, yeah, it still sticks with me. Yeah, but that's my list. Movies.
Great list.
Nice.
Glad you saw the 5 movies, you know?
The 5, yes.
What you got, Kayla?
Number 5, I have The Harder They Fall, which is like a cowboy movie, but what's that guy's name? Major Thomas?
Jonathan
John
Majors.
Majors? Jonathan Majors? I can never remember his name. I just know I think Major. But anyways,
Control to Kang
he's
the
like
Conqueror.
he's a young boy in the wild, wild west. And he watches his father be murdered by some powerful people, and he's out for vengeance now as an adult. And it's just like some cowboy movie, but all the characters are played by black actors, and they play like reggae music throughout it, and I just really liked the tone it set there. Like,
Hell yeah.
it was interesting, it was different, it was funky. It was dark and gory and violent, and Idris Alba is the guy he's after, so he, of course, is just terrible and enjoyable all at once. He does a good job at that. The Harder They Fall was on Netflix, I believe.
Yep.
Fun watch.
Big Tarantino like homages, I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like something
Next,
Tarantino would do.
Yeah.
it was fun. Next, I have Bo Burnham Inside. We talked about
Bo.
that. It was just
Oh,
so
Bo.
creative and refreshing and sad and joyous, and it takes you to so many places. The songs are so much fun. Great. Number 3, I have Suicide Squad. Same kind of vibe, at least for the words that I'm gonna say. It takes you places. It's wacky. It's kooky. It was like ripping off a Band-Aid for me. Like, they had such a wound already with the Suicide Squad that came previous. It was bad, and they just ripped off a Band-Aid and gave us glory. It was great. Number 2, I have Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Mm.
Oderman.
Oh.
It was, most anticipated for the whole year, and it did not disappoint for me. I have like just one or two little gripes with it, nothing completely crazy. Uh, I was scared going into it. They had a lot of stuff. I didn't know how they were going to make it work. It sounded like a hard thing to do, and they did it, and I liked the way that they did it. So it made my list. And then
Nice.
number 1, I have Judas and the Black Messiah.
Judas.
I think that one might be locked in at this point.
Yeah, that's 3 so far. Mike's
Yeah.
not feeling it. Mike's not feeling it.
It's
Well,
a
All right,
Mike.
beautiful movie.
my list.
Yep.
Go for it.
Okay. Unlike games, I have 5 movies that I love. That I really,
Nice.
Yeah.
I love all these. 5, I got Bo. I got Inside.
Bo.
Um,
Bo.
I couldn't leave it off. I echo with what everyone else said. It's just stuck with me. Like that soundtrack really, and and I think back to the visual as well every time. He did a really good job of capturing making like just a music video in for each of these
Yeah.
things and really sticking with you. The editing, the effects, the songwriting, the singing, whatever. Really good, really great. Next I have The Green Knight at 4.
Green Knight.
Visually, the story really clicks with me. It's a story of just what is honor, what is important, what kind of life do you want to lead. I think it all works really well. It's kind of a tried and true kind of story almost, but really
Yeah.
just the way it unfolds and um, the section with like the the beggar. He's Guywen's just starting on his journey and he's riding through this battlefield. Um, and there's a guy who's just digging through all the bodies and he was the guy from Eternals. He was in Dunkirk as well. He was one of the younger guys on the fishing boat.
Okay.
He's a real creepy looking dude. He
Yeah, he is.
Does very well in this movie.
Yeah, he made me feel really
Given
uncomfortable.
the heebie-jeebies, yeah.
Big time.
And he's talking to Guywen like, and Guy was like, "Oh, so you're a knight? You know, you've seen battle?" And Gaywen goes, "Here and there." And the man, the beggar, he goes, "Here? Like here? You fought here?" Which he's never seen battle. He's never seen,
No.
he's never lived this life of a knight. Even though he is one technically, just because of his
Because of his
family,
name.
nepotism,
Yeah.
basically. And I don't know, it's such a cool ride, and it's something I will revisit for the
There's
rest of my life.
some really cool, interesting facts about that movie. So I guess the original appearance of the Green Knight, there was like no CG. It was all practical effects.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
I believe it.
apparently they painted like for that round table like shot where like everybody's there. They painted extensions to that background just to make it fill out more.
Wow.
Like I was reading up like because I was just fascinated in how this movie fucking looked, the shots, the
Mhm.
visuals, gorgeous.
Mm.
And I really enjoyed the end though too, like where like
The
he's
ending's
about
phenomenal. It
yeah,
is.
the ending was the best payoff of that movie for me, like as far as the story goes. But yeah, like, the more you talk about it, the more like I realized parts that I enjoyed more of it than just the visuals. But yeah, um,
The ending, I didn't put it on moments. I put the reveal of the Green Knight
mhm.
instead, just because I didn't really want to spoil it. But I guess we should talk about it anyway. Gawain gets to the chapel. He finds the Green Knight, and this whole time he's questioning. Well, man, is it really just me? Like, is it really just going to end
Yeah,
with
is this
him
everything?
really going through with this? Like with the game, it's just a game, and
Yeah,
the Green Knight asks him to kneel, and uh, he you see Gawain. He can't go through with it.
he's like
He
he
can't.
books it.
He books it, and there's the next 20 minutes is no dialogue. It is just him
Yep,
returning home, and you see his life play out. He becomes king. He has a bastard son with Alicia Vikander, who he loves, but he can't be with now.
yep.
And he rips the
Marries
baby was
another
born and
person.
ripped from her arms right away. Um,
His
and
son dies in battle.
yes, yeah, and you just
Like,
see what. Yes, he would have gotten this life, but an empty life.
yeah, it's a
And
husk.
yes, and his mother has given him this sash, this green sash, and she tells, if you wear this, it will protect you. And she's a witchy woman, and she's put some kind of spell on this. And
Yeah,
there are times when he loses the sash throughout his journey, and he regains it. And throughout he will not remove this sash. It becomes such a crutch
yep.
for his life at this point. And even when he's married some princess from some far off land, and they're love making, and he's
Yep.
wearing the fucking
So,
sash, like,
you want the
and
mustache on or off?
right. Um, but then you see it all played out in his head, and he goes he removes the sash, and he kneels, and the Green Knight, off with your head, and that is
It
the
just
last
cuts.
thing we see. and
Literally cuts, and it shows a board that says Green Knight, grown in foliage.
it's just awesome.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about the ambiguous ending, and
Very
It Takes Two, I
ambiguous.
believe, and I love a good thinker, like of what that all meant, what was the purpose of this 2.5 hours or whatever, and it's something I'm gonna keep pondering for a long time.
Yeah, there's a good little dialogue between him and the Green Knight. Right before he chops his head off, or well, about to. He's like, "Is this really it? Is this really all there is?" And the Green Knight's like, "It's like, why shouldn't this just be it?"
Yeah,
I
you
was like,
signed up for this. Yeah,
"Yeah." I was like, "Oh shit."
I didn't mince my words. I was, the floaty letter said it all. But yeah, love the Green Knight. Number three, was Old.
Old.
Just man, what a banger! M Night still got it.
Still
Uh,
got it, mate.
at a certain point, like the mystery took a back seat for me, and I was just like
In for the ride.
invested in these little pockets of characters on this beach and the weird things that would happen. There's a scene where the Gael Garcia's wife, I forget her name, she developed like this tumor has just become so enlarged that she didn't even know she fucking had, I believe, and they have to remove it. And time works, so if you cut someone, the wound heals
Oh, it's so gross.
extremely rapidly, and they have to like keep trying and keep like, and they have to hold it open to remove this thing or she's gonna die. And
Ugh.
Luckily, they're there with a nurse and a doctor.
Yeah.
all of this stuff is so well done. There's like the two youngest characters eventually grow up old enough, and but it's not just their bodies aging. It's not Tom Hanks in Big where he's still a 11-year-old at inside. It's the ideas in their head are like they're interested in each other, and they wind up doing it and having a baby, and it happens within minutes. And
Wow.
the baby can't survive in this environment, and it dies right away, and you just see these cradling these bones, and uh the
And then there's the
horror and the
twist.
thriller aspects and every like it was just such a fun ride for me. And I thought the ending was pretty cool too. It um winds up that the beach is just fucking magic, but a pharmaceutical company has control of this magic beach, and they implant people there that they know have certain um illnesses
Illnesses.
and diseases, and they try to figure out how to they can do a test of
Years in a weekend.
yeah,
You can
testing on
test
certain
medication to.
medications instead of it,
Oh.
yeah, they can do it rapidly within a day. They
Oh
find out
wow.
results. And I thought that for me was like, okay, yeah,
That's
that's
fascinating. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Um,
interesting.
and we talked, the beach scene, which was
Mm.
made our
Yeah,
moments.
you guys made them.
So good. So you don't expect that kind of performance and poignancy in an M Night movie. At least I did.
Mm-mm.
Uh, it worked.
Not always.
My last two here really shook up my list. They knocked off Luca and Dune
Oh, wow.
off my list.
Duncan, Idaho.
Yeah. Duncan got slayed by
No.
Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter. Technically a 2021 release, even though I just seen it at the end of this year. I'm doing
It's okay.
technicality here.
It's okay.
31st,
It's
There you
right?
go.
funny.
I think it released on the 31st.
It
Mhm.
says 2021. And
Yeah.
you're in there, baby.
Olivia Colman and Jesse Buckley play the same character in different moments of their life. Jesse Buckley has become a young mother. Um, she's she works in like languages and stuff, and like translating Italian and shit like that. And you see Olivia Colman is much later in life. I think it's 20 years later between them. She's visiting an Italian, you know, beautiful beach landscape for vacation, and while she's on the beach, this other family arrives, and there's a little girl and a very young mother played by Dakota Johnson, and she starts getting flashbacks, and she sees herself uh, in Dakota, and the girl comes up missing on the beach, and everyone's frantically searching, and Olivia Colman winds up finding the girl and returning her to the family, and they're all, like, oh, it's such a stressful moment that turns out okay.
Hmm.
But then Olivia
Yeah.
Colman like steals the little girl's doll,
Oh, jeez.
uh, which you find out reminds her of the exact same doll that she gave to her oldest daughter. Um, and you find out like the oldest daughter did not care for this doll the way her mother did and cherished it. She writes all over it, and she winds up angrily throwing the doll out the window, and it breaks. And um, it's just a journey into the psyche of this mom, and how she could not handle it, and she doesn't handle it, and she leaves. She left her. You find out she left her family for 3 years to pursue the things she really wanted to pursue, her career, um, a relationship with a man that she finds brilliant, and he finds her brilliant, and she says peace out to this
Oh,
life.
wow.
And it's really well done. These two actresses are two of the best in my opinion, and uh, the movie really keeps going. This is written and directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, by the way, her
Oh,
first, and she knocked it out of the park, I think. Uh, the the tension that moves with this doll, like, will some like because the family is like they're constantly running into each other and wondering, like, she's my daughter's so upset she can't find this doll. We have to buy her, and we're gonna have to try to buy her a new one, and Olivia Colman is loving this doll and buying it new clothes and cleaning it, and like
But you can tell she like blacks out at times and like doesn't
yeah,
recall
just
like
with
what she did with
yeah,
the doll or whatever.
she is really not recovered from all this. She's really screwed up from the decision she made, and the the regrets that she has in her life, and she's talking about her daughters throughout the movie, with certain characters, and um how the oldest one is nothing like her, and resents her for that, and the other one, is all of her and has, her physique, and all of the little things that make Olivia Colman's character, and then just to find out what really went down, and the the relationship the pieces she's trying to fit together back together her whole life now, and trying to manage this thing.
Oof.
Uh, just so super effective, super
It
well
was a
done.
good movie. Yeah.
can we
I
talk about the
loved
end
it. Loved it.
for a second?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Um, so I think Kayla, uh, we just saw this a couple days ago actually, and loved it. Great movie. I think it definitely deserves to be on this list. I didn't catch something, and maybe is she dead at the end? Has she died?
Tomas was like, "What?"
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, it's yawning.
See,
Sorry.
so that is not how I read it initially, but I was like, okay, the last scene, she's on the beach. She wakes up from her wound and her kind of moment, and she has an orange in her hand, and she's peeling this orange, and I'm
Yeah.
like, the fuck? Why does she have an orange in her hand? And then it kind of ends on a conversation with her kid. I think she like picks up the phone or whatever else, and it's like both of
Calls them up.
her
Yeah.
kids. Right, right, right. I think she's dead. I think like because
Hmm.
first off, why does she have the orange? That's her like happiest moment is peeling the orange with her kids. So and I think she's
Feel the
estranged.
snake, don't let it break. Oh,
Right.
man. Yeah.
And I think she's still estranged from her kids because we start the
Yeah.
movie
Okay.
off, and she's trying to have this conversation with Martha, and Bianca's not wanting to have a conversation. Martha seems like she's trying to get her off the phone. It seems like there's some tension there. But then this final call at the end, everything's cool. Like it's perfect. She's got the orange. She's peeling the orange. She's having a nice talk with her kids. I think it's heaven or hell or whatever. Like I think she's dead. And like just imagining like what she could have had if she hadn't left or whatever.
Okay. She gets because throughout the movie you think like she leaves this fucking doll out and about, and she has people.
She gives no fuck.
Yeah, and people like Ed Harris is in this movie, does very well. He sees the doll at some point, and he's kind of cool about it. Like, he doesn't seem like he's gonna rat her out about this doll. He tells her, "Yeah, that thing's full of water. You might want to fucking clean that thing out."
Ugh.
Basically. And
And it is.
Full of more than water.
Dakota Johnson, who again, they're kind of different sides of the same coin, basically, in their lives, and there's a confrontation at the end. Dakota Johnson wants to use this woman's apartment for her affairs, and Olivia Colman decides, okay, I'm going to show you the doll. I got to give you the doll back. I got to confess, and she says, like, I'm an unnatural mother. Like, I don't know why. I'm playing a game. I just, and Dakota Johnson freaks out, stabs her with a hairpin in the stomach, and I don't know. Olivia Colman then packs up and is getting ready to leave. She crashes her car. She kind of blacks out, and passes out on the beach. And you see flashes of her laying on the beach, face down on the beach, throughout the movie. You don't know when or where this is going to happen. So you might be right. I didn't take it that way. I just took it as the movie letting you know that she's struggling every day, but it's kind of working. I kind of took it as like a light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. Like they've kind of figured this out, even though they've had this huge rocky road and everything, that they got there. That's how I interpreted it.
Still
But
has-
I definitely like thinking about the ending now, like if that's true.
That hit me. Like when Kayla even like put that into my head, I was like, "Holy shit!" That it improved the movie. I liked it anyway, but like it was like, "Oh wow, oh man, wow, yeah." Like made
Yeah,
it.
and just Olivia Colman's paranoia in this movie. She always thinks someone's out to get her, and she's going to be found out, or they know they're talking about her. They're waiting out at the family's waiting outside my car, but it's not even really her car. She's just fucking loopy. And just a masterclass from the two leads for me. My number one, I finally got to see it recently, is The French Dispatch.
Oh.
From Wes
Oh, yeah.
Anderson. I didn't when I heard that it was kind of 3 vignettes together, I was kind of disappointed in that style. I really like Wes to tell, just a story from A to B. But man, it works. It's the story of Bill Murray's character started this newspaper in France called the French Dispatch. They are distributed to Kansas City. They're like, Kansas City is kind of painted in this movie to just be like a cultural hub of the world at this point. I think the movie takes place maybe in the 40s, I want to say. It's a very old school, that time kind of look. I don't know, just each vignette surpassed the other one for me. And one is Benicio del Toro plays a painter who's locked up for life because he murdered 2 men in a bar, and he's an amazing painter. And Adrian Brody discovers him and wants to make him, this huge success. And that story's told so well. The next one is like French Revolution, but based like the cause is boys want to be able to visit the girls' dormitory, and Timothy Chalamet and Frances McDormand are the leads in that one. and it's told so well. And the last one is Jeffrey Wright um, is supposed to do a story on this famous chef, and it winds up being like a kidnapping detective noir story. Um,
Hmm.
and Bill Murray is cut in between these stories. It's like stories within stories. It's very meta in that way. And Tilda Swinton is narrating the first story, and Francis McDormand the second, Jeffrey Wright the third, and Bill Murray has to like finalize, like he's getting the final copy at the end of these narrations, and he's in their offices, and there's such a cool he builds this relationship with these characters so quickly and so well, and it makes a full story out of it. And part of the half of the movie I would say black and white half, and Wes does such a good job at he picks every little inch of every little shot, everything, every part of the set design. I feel like he has a hand in. And when it goes to black and white, it's like you just know what color should be there. You can see it.
Oh
Um,
wow.
this is the funniest movie I saw this year. The humor is so good.
That.
Everyone is batting 1,000 in this thing. Except Saoirse Ronan, actually. She has a very small part, but man, the cat, like Timothy Chalamet, Tilda Swinton, Bill Murray, Benicio del Toro,
Yeah, it's
Lea Seydoux, Frances
the Wes
McDormand, Adrian
Anderson
Brody,
film.
Owen Wilson, Jeffrey Wright, Saoirse, like I said, Elizabeth Moss, William Dafoe, Jason Schwartzman, Edward Norton,
Wow.
like
Yeah, the
they're
Wes
all
Anderson film.
they're all getting like they all might have just a little bit to do, but they take advantage of it, and it was an absolute joy. I loved it.
Man.
Nice.
Top top 3 West for me. I didn't
How'd you watch
anticipate
it?
it. I rented it on Amazon.
Yeah, you can rent it on Amazon Prime.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I didn't think it was available till pretty recent because I've been looking for it, and
They
yeah.
the availability on like when you can just rent them off Amazon
Yeah.
Prime is relatively quick now. So
Right.
Okay. All right. So we have a long list of 14. We got some, I think, locked in,
Excuse me.
right? We got Bo
Judas?
Burnham's Inside, I think, locked in. Judas and the Black Messiah, locked in. The Green Knight, I think, was loved by Tomas and Mike, and that's one where I feel like I just need to see it,
yeah,
and I'm gonna love it. I'm sure. So
Same.
I wouldn't be afraid to have that on the list. Um, so then I guess that's where the questions go. Suicide Squad was what, on you and me, Kayla,
I
right?
had it.
yeah, you guys both had it.
Um, maybe that's a conversation to have. Um, I know we all kind of dug Shang-Chi quite a bit this year. The Lost Daughter, I didn't put it on mine because I didn't want like recency bias to come into any of this. So like Licorice Pizza, kind of another one that I watched kind of
Mm.
recently, could have maybe snuck its
Yeah.
way on the list,
I wish I could have seen it. And
um,
Fucking up,
I'd like to, I
man.
guess, have that Lost Daughter conversation. Because I really dug that
so good.
movie a
It's
lot.
so good. It's
Kayla brought up a really good point when we were watching that. She was like, "Man, who's the young version?" I said, "Oh, that's Jessie Buckley. I haven't really seen her in much. I know she's in I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and I've
so
wanted to
good
see
in that.
that."
Yeah.
And
Fargo season 4. Great.
yeah, and Kayla was like, "Man, she just like becomes Olivia Colman so well. Like we know what Olivia Colman does, and frankly in this movie Olivia Colman doesn't have as much like as far as speaking lines and stuff. Like Jessie Buckley has more dialogue, but she does Olivia Colman like so well. Like you could just imagine like, oh, that's what Olivia Colman probably was like 20 years ago or something
Like,
like that.
even the way that she moved and the way that she talked, like, where you could tell she was at least trying to mimic Olivia Colman's mannerisms and such, which we all know is very unique and expressive with her face.
Yeah. Yeah, she does a lot with just glances and stares.
That
at
mouth.
certain characters. She's a lot of the movie is on this beach, and she's just observing everything around her, and you can tell what she's thinking and what she's feeling very well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that makes the list. I really dug Old as well. It was on my best moments, or
I
a
would have
scene from
old
it
on
was
the
on
list. Mm-hmm.
my.
Love
Yeah.
Old.
Maybe Old's a conversation to have. Um.
We
You
have
only
one
need one.
slot. Maybe is that what?
Well,
Sounds like it.
we could lock in Bo Burnham's Inside, Judas and the Black Messiah, The Green Knight, and The Lost Daughter if we wanted to. Those could be 4, and then have one slot to fill
We're
with
not
something
locking in
else.
Suicide Squad.
Um.
Do we
Well,
not feel?
what did you think of Suicide Squad? Did you think it deserves the list?
I really liked it. I don't think it's the best comic book thing I saw this year. That would be a TV show for me.
About to get there.
Um, I think it's cool that they turned that thing around. James Gunn knows what the fuck he's doing. Um,
He sure does.
I think there's great moments in it, great characters. The ending was probably the where it fell a little flat for
Mm,
me.
sure.
That big battle, but up to that point, like yeah, it was Diet Guardians, and
Ooh.
it's pretty good.
Well, how about sticking to comic book stuff? Shang-Chi. We've all seen Shang-Chi, and I think enjoyed it to different levels. What do we feel about, instead of Suicide Squad, Shang-Chi being on the list?
That's a coin flip for me between those two. I don't know.
I think when a part of it is in our biggest disappointments, it's kind of tough.
Okay.
No kissing.
Yeah, and I heard the villain was really built up for me, and I don't know that I thought he was great. Um, really liked the world building and the humor, and liked seeing that brought into the fold for Marvel. I thought they did that pretty well. The mysticism and the spirituality of it, uh, of that world, their whole thing. I thought it was introduced pretty cool. When it becomes just a big CGI clusterfuck, I thought that was one of the better CGI clusterfuck. Like this big spectacle thing. It was really pretty. Um, the battle's cool. I like, Aquafina getting something to do there at the end. I thought was kind of rushed and stuff. The Mulan
Longbow.
training montage, but it was
A
done
boy
well.
longbow.
Yeah,
Sticking
I,
with
I like Sean.
Marvel, then Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Odie.
Oh man, are we doing that now? I don't think it deserves to be on the 5.
No, okay.
I really didn't like how No Way Home, or sorry, Far From Home ends with this huge cliffhanger of his identity being revealed. And this movie just fucking pushes that out of the way so fucking fast. It's like, oh, okay, they know, everyone knows, okay, we gotta move. Okay, oh, the villains are here. Okay, I don't want to stop the villains. My friends can't get into the school they like. Doctor Strange is gonna do something he shouldn't do. And it's really not until the third part of the movie when the other Spider-Men show up and it becomes their movie. It is about it's about just being able to not only correct what happened to these villains and if that was wrong or right, but being able to just exercise what happened to these guys, what has happened in the past, going back to that, and in the movie theater clicking like, okay, this is the movie. Like this is what really shines here. The relationship of these 3 characters together works so well. It shouldn't work. Um, the when Andrew Garfield appears, like they open Ned, Tom Holland's best friend in the movie, opens up a portal. He's got the portal ring or whatever the fuck it's called, the zip ring or whatever. And they open a portal and you see a Spider-Man down the alleyway, and he comes. He just like, oh, okay. He notices the portal and runs up to it and
All about that.
takes the mask off, and it's Andrew Garfield. And if I hadn't known about the movie pretty much for a year, about everything that was going to happen in it, that moment really would have popped. If so many movies haven't been doing this for a long time, with just introducing all these metaverses and stuff like that, it's been a year. If it's the year of the loop, it's the year of the fucking metaverse too, and all that. Um, parts are so good in this movie. There's some really great stuff, but it's just kind of a mess overall for me. I don't know. I don't love. This is my least favorite of the three Holland Spider-Man movies.
Okay. Okay. Then I guess we have to have the Thunder Force conversation.
Absolutely. I forgot I even put that on my list. So.
Did you guys get to check out The Harder They Fall at all?
No.
I tried to watch it.
Okay.
I don't know if I was just in the wrong kind of frame of mind.
Gotcha. Yeah, that one's worth checking out. I like that one quite a bit. I think it's deserving. I mean, it almost seems like we're backing into.
I think it should be Dune. I think it should just.
Let's just pick the Wes Anderson film. Eric loves Benicio del Toro.
Oh,
I love Owen Wilson and Edward Norton. 90% of the people on that list.
I'm afraid of the French Dispatch. I'm gonna see it, but I've never seen a Wes Anderson film, and I've stayed away because I'm afraid that I'm just gonna disagree with my best friends.
Oh,
I'm just
no,
gonna
bro.
I'm afraid. So I
you like to have fun. I don't know. They're just.
I won't hate you. I'll just say you're wrong.
A sense of the humor and the visuals and everything just clicks so well, and I love it.
I mean, in terms of passion and for something on someone's list, I think Mike really sold the French Dispatch.
Oh, absolutely.
I know, Kayla, you really want to check that one out.
It's been on my list.
So, I mean, I guess we could. It almost seems like it's the Suicide Squad versus the French Dispatch versus Shang-Chi, maybe kind of conversation.
I mean, only one of us has seen the Wes Anderson movie, so.
Right. Okay. I guess
So
we
are
could
we
maybe.
against putting
Suicide Squad's good.
I'm
Suicide
not.
Squad? Okay. Let's do
Fuck
it.
it.
Let's.
Suicide Squad.
Yes.
I've heard you guys talk about Polka Dot Man at least on 10 of these podcast episodes.
He's great.
He really, he's a really interesting character. I know we talked about it, but the way he's introduced is so there's mystery around what the fuck is his power? He has this power dampering fucking thing on him at all times, and it's what the fuck, Polka Dot Man, and just to find out what it is and the origin of his power, it's the best part of the movie. I think it's good.
All right.
Staying power.
Then that's the list, folks. Movies of the year: Bo Burnham's Inside, Judas and the Black Messiah, The Suicide Squad, The Green Knight, and The Lost Daughter. A lot of those there.
Not to say I don't want to come off like I didn't love Judas and the Black Messiah. I just had a hard time because of Oscars is like the Super Bowl for me of movies. Once that happens, it's a new season.
I feel you.
That's just how it worked for me. It's tough. I don't blame you guys for having it.
No.
But it could have made my 5.
Okay.
And that's a movie that probably would have been in theaters last year had everything not happened the way it did, So
it's the world we live in.
2 years ago, I guess I should say at this point. 2020.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Right.
On to TV then?
Sure.
Let's do it. Do we want to get right in? We got to take a break or?
I say we get right in.
I say knock it out.
Let's
Let's go.
knock it out of the park. TV of the
Mama
year.
said.
We've talked, I think, a lot about these, so let's get to the long list, and then we can
Speak to
go from
speak for
there.
yourself, bro.
um.
Our Easttown was shit. Nah.
Oh no. My number 5 for TV of the year was Loki. Really
Woo!
fun Marvel
It's on
wackiness.
mine.
The metaverse, all of the above. Great Hiddleston. We've gotten little hints of Loki here and there. He's been a good villain in the series, but we got to see him for 6 solid episodes, and real
Got
fun.
to see him shine. Got to see
Such
my
a
boy
great
shine.
lead. I also have it on my list.
Oh
I
yeah.
also have it on my list.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Lock it in.
Well, looks
It's the
like
Lock
we
first
it
might
in.
horror
lock it.
lead, I think.
Lock it in, baby. That was the
Wow.
one.
Yeah, I know we did a whole spoiler on it.
Yep.
Go listen to that. My feelings haven't changed. I love it.
It was fun. My girlfriend's not big into Marvel stuff. It's usually really confusing, but she was really all in on this one. And like just those TV series in general were kind of a fun way to introduce her into the Marvel cinematic universe. But that one was definitely the one that shined above the rest. So
Hell yeah.
Right.
Number 4 is Reservation Dogs. This was a big surprise for
damn.
me.
Shit ass.
Just kind of found out that right before it premiered, basically, Taika is executive producing a show about some teens on a Native American reservation, and they kind of are petty thieves or whatever, trying to get out, and they're gonna get into wacky hijinks. Okay, cool, sign me up, and it delivered. Good, a lot of funny things. It got weirdly supernatural at points,
Yeah.
which worked as well. That's what probably hooked me the
Surprisingly
most.
well.
In terms of wanting more seasons. I don't know if their shtick of oh, we're just trying to make money to get out of here would have kept me
Stuck.
going, for
Yeah.
multiple seasons. But there might be some legit supernatural shit going on in this town and whatnot.
The deer lady.
Yeah, the show introduces the spirituality and the folklore
Yeah.
really well. It mixes that stuff in, and you just kind of go with it. It's like, okay, yeah, I believe this. And it could have turned out not that way. It could have turned out really kind of hokey.
Yeah.
And it does a good job of
So-
towing that line.
Very so you don't get to see much representation of Native Americans in popular media, at least to the extent that it's just their life on a reservation. It's it's just a normal little podunk society that they live in. I think a
Yeah.
lot of us can kind of relate to living in a podunk town, but it's it's just different, and there's there's going ons in that kind of you know smaller little subsection of society that it's not really represented, and it's kind of interesting to see a take on that. It was also just a very fun show.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It was
it
funny.
really
Yeah,
was.
I remember reading it on the show notes for whichever month, upcoming that was, and checking the trailer out and think, oh, there's something here. This is fun. And not being ready for what it really was, and how much
Yeah.
heart it has, and really good show. Really good.
What a show.
Heart's a good word. That's
Hell yeah. Number 3 for me, Midnight Mass. Really
Joker.
enjoyed this. I've enjoyed all of the Haunting series, Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, and now Midnight Mass. They share a lot of the same actors throughout the various series, and they're just real good. They do supernatural, horror, thriller, mystery elements very well. They kind of weave in and out through these stories, and this one maybe wasn't as scary per se. It wasn't as much of like a ghost story as the other ones, but it did other things I think a lot better. I think some of the character monologues and kind of the way this show takes on religion and things of that nature just really hit. Midnight Mass. Really, really good.
Yogurt.
And Joker.
Yeah, it's on my list. Just I've said it before, but just how the show uses religion as a weapon and a tool and shows you the good and the bad of it, I think is
Yeah.
really well done. Um, I don't know. It's my favorite thing of the year. I think.
Ooh, holy shit.
Just really the character, the setting, the way that they just let you know how like down this town is, just with the color palette and the aging done on certain characters, and how it starts to come back to life, and at what cost, and just the plan, like Father Pruitt's plan of lacing the blood of Christ with this vampire blood, and trying to heal this town, but he also has another motive of his own that's revealed at the end, and that's really well done, I think. And just the desperation in this town, and they want to believe, like, yes, this is something we need. We needed this so bad. This kind of this miracle, um, and the hunger and the greed in that towards the end, like, just it takes one person to turn this thing into something that could have been manageable, um, but sees it as something completely different, and it can just change a person, change a whole town. Uh,
Yeah, it's very believable in that sense, even though it's supernatural in nature. Like it's believable. Like if you could just if vampires were real, this is
yeah,
kind of how it would happen. I think like
yeah, just the thought that it's in this like island town. It's it's caught in this thing, and then if this gets out, if this it could be catastrophic in nature, and I kind of didn't like how it's kind of open ended a little bit with the monster. The only mark I have against the show is if the monster got away or not. Uh, yeah, it's just so good. The people, I've heard people complain about the monologue, or like just the talking in this movie. Like, oh man, there's just so much. Like, and when I'm watching it, I'm like, what the fuck are you guys complaining about? This is so good. This is the show. It's it's these character, like, and the dialogue is written so well, and it's performed very well, and God, just the the AA meetings between Father Paul and the main character, who we still don't know
who no one can
his name,
remember
but
character X, I think is his name.
just
Yeah.
so well, relations between he and his the his old flame.
May be able to convince my girlfriend to watch it because of that.
Right,
He's
right.
He's always
And
big on recovery stuff, so
oh man, just
It does it well. It really
so
tackles that kind
so
of
well
stuff
done.
really well.
Watch it, everyone, watch it.
do it. Do it.
Midnight Mass, yeah, check it out. And it's not as scary. For people who don't like horror and stuff, it's like a lowercase h in my opinion.
It's
Horror.
more the setting that's just kind of
Horror, yeah,
eerie.
it's set
Like
dressing.
creepy.
Yeah, yeah. So on to number 2. My biggest like surprise of the year, I would say, is Arcane. From
Oh, okay.
Netflix. Animated show set in the League of Legends world, which I have no connection
Lol.
to whatsoever. In fact, like
Lol.
it's a thing that I don't ever want to, like, it's a game I don't ever really want to get into, or a mythology or a lore I don't really have any interest in. But the show was just damn good. Like, it was just so pretty to look at. The animation just was 2 to 11. Like just fantastic. The action was great. All the various fight scenes, and then there's some real heavy stuff. It's essentially a tale of the haves and have-nots, and how they interact, and how one looks down on the other and one looks up at the other with disdain and just anger and all of the things that can come up with that, and the war between the two, and who's right and who's wrong, for disturbing the peace in a sense. And at its smaller levels, it's a story of sisters, and one looking up to the other and not kind of them not understanding each other, in it, at the end of the day, just not understanding each other, and how that can lead to disastrous consequences. It ends on a hell of a cliffhanger,
Yeah.
and something bad, like the whatever season 2 is, it's gonna start really bad. It's gonna start really rough.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for it. I'm real excited for season 2.
Really love the show. Another just big surprise. Again, like Eric, I have no interest in this universe. I do now. I would love to play a game set in this world. I want to control Jinx. I want to control the big hammer. I want, I want to explore.
Apparently, it's free to play, so
I don't want a MOBA. I want to explore the city. I want
gotcha.
Kane's on my
and
list
just
too.
the costs of progress in the show for both sides. Like progress is going to take its toll in the Undercity, above with nobles and everything. Like it's really well done. The action is so well done. Yeah, it was such a joy. The structure of it was like released in 3 parts, 3 episodes apiece, and it's really like kind of almost 3 movies, 3 acts, and really good. That ending, it ends on quite a cliffhanger, like Eric said. Each kind of act ends that way, with these big set piece moments. When the kind of before the time jump, the time skip, and I love a good time skip, and this show does a very good time skip. When the characters are younger, Vi and Powder, previously, before Jinx, her name was Powder. She's a very young girl, and just they're trying to fucking stop, their resistance, trying to stop the bad guy, and it goes incredibly poorly. For both sides in a way, really. And the effects on that, and the effect, it's upstairs, downstairs, and really well done. Really well done.
It's like the best version of Final Fantasy VII, like the
Yeah.
attack on the reactor kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Like
and where in
Echo
that
can't
game
melt
the
steel
deaths are
beams.
not done well. The death, like when you lose Jesse and all of that, and Wedge or whatever, and it just seems kind of like it's like a gut punch. It's a real gut punch. Like, oh, did this just happen? Did those people die right now? And the effects that it has on the characters afterwards are done really well visually.
A little bit more
Jinx's
mental.
state of mind, yeah, the way she sees her friend, like she killed her friends, on accident. Basically, she thought she was going to save the day with this bomb she made. With this new technology that they stole, and she's stuck with that forever. Like she hears their voices in her head, and she talks to them all the time, and they're kind of her moral compass, like the angel and devil on the shoulder in a way. And
Yeah.
it's done in such a cool way, so much style, but it's not just all style. There's really depth there, and a good story, and it's the total package.
Arcane, number 2, beaten only by a behemoth this year, Mare of Easttown.
Mare.
Just I mean, we have talked about this just ad nauseum. Mare went real far in the bracket of nonsense, and the performance was just fantastic. Multiple performances. Honestly, it was well acted throughout. Lots of just kind of an eclectic group of characters, but just a believable small town detective story. Believable characters, very flawed characters who you don't even have to like at the end of the day. Like at the end of the story, they all do pretty terrible things, say some pretty terrible things, and are all broken in various ways. But uh, just really affecting show overall. And yeah, just can't say enough about how much I
It's
enjoyed
on
it.
my list.
We
It
didn't do a podcast
What?
on it, but we did talk about it ad infinitum. So
right, yeah. I mean,
Love it.
so good.
what you got, Tomas?
Uh, I had a lot of trouble putting these in order, so I'm just gonna say my list. So,
Okay.
I got Loki. Uh, yeah, I think we talked about that one. And, well, shit, we did a whole podcast on it. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, just Hiddleston at his finest. Great storytelling, fun, quirky, uh, high stakes, low stakes. Like it hit a lot of the buttons all at once. Then I guess the next one I got on my list, I put down Castlevania. Woo! Yeah, I'm a Castlevania mark. And I've explained how I just loved how they were able to put a bow on that series, not fuck it up. And just the last season, there's some characters that I just never would have thought that like we're gonna be on the top of my list, kind of like push their way up. Like you mentioned Isaac when we talked about it last time, Mike, and I don't
Yeah.
know, man. Like, yeah, the show was just fucking cool. The animation was fun. Characters were really well developed. Yeah, and I'm
On my
excited
list.
to see more.
It's
So
it's crazy that it's as good as it is based
yes,
on something that was just, hey, what if we take all those old monster movies and throw them in the
yeah, it
game,
was
and
it was
like
literally supposed to just be a game about old monster movies. That's why,
yeah,
like, when you play the original Castlevania, you can see like little
the
film
film
like
strip,
strips
yeah,
on the side.
and the
Yeah,
title screen, yeah. Oh
it's
yeah,
all there.
and the fact like Isaac in a show full of Dracula and Belmonts and magic wielders to introduce
Yep,
this new kind of character and really flesh him out and his whole
just a
journey.
dude with a
So
vendetta
well
trying to
done.
find himself. And man, I was like those were the episodes that like fucking had me like on that last season. Just fucking watching him. It's like I want to see old boy get what he wants. I want to see him do his thing, build up his legion, and fucking yeah. But yeah, Castlevania was sick. I loved it. Um,
Yeah.
and then I got down Mayor. I think we've talked about Mayor forever. I love Mayor. Mayor Jordan for president.
Mayor might be
uh,
locked. It might be on there.
uh,
Yeah, I think Mare's locked.
it was just cool to see Kate Winslet in something that it's like I never would have expected her to play either. It was also very cool that it was Kate Winslet's. Otherwise, my girlfriend would have never watched this show. And, but I was like, holy shit! I was impressed. I never forget Mike just fucking harping. It's like, you gotta watch this show, bro. Fucking Mare's good, man. Mare's good. It's just one of those ones Mike wouldn't put down. And God, like it was a little hard to like. I could not marathon this show. Like I couldn't do it like in a single sitting. It took me like a couple weeks to watch it just because it was a heavy ass show.
Perfect week to week kind of show.
Yeah, it there was some heavy tones, some heavy shit, some shit that felt a little bit more personal than other stuff. But it was good. It was effective, and yeah. So I know I said I didn't put these in any particular order, but yeah, Mare would probably be my number one. Um, then next one I got Res Dogs. That was just a fun, quirky, charming show. Another Taika joint. One of the patron saints of the podcast. So one of
The
the
only
many.
one currently. We need to do a list or an episode of the pod where we
Just talk.
we build out the sainthood.
Writing that down.
I would like to do that.
Build out the lore.
Patron pod. It's on there.
That'll be an interesting one. Yeah, like Eric said, shit ass is just fun to say. I'm
So
a big
fun.
fan of Skoden. It's a cute, charming show, but there's also some very serious moments. That was just another one of those ones like, you get to I started watching it when there was 4 episodes, and I was kind of pissed at first that I had to wait for a weekly release. But just one of those like it made Mondays like kind of cool because I had something to look forward to when I got off of work, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it coming back. Then the other one is, and I don't know if any of you guys watch this, and I only started watching this because I was watching it at my girlfriend's dad's house, and they never know what to watch, and we just kind of picked it. And we started watching it. It was called Only Murders in the Building.
Ooh.
Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez. And literally just finished this show yesterday. And I was like,
Nice.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to put it on the list. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So it's just a kooky little murder mystery, like kind of like, TV show. Some washed up old guys. One of them's he was a former, well, still he did like theater on Broadway and stuff. And another guy used to be an actor on an old TV show called Brazos, and then Selena Gomez, she's kind of like the linchpin. Like this guy gets murdered, and you find out later on that she knew this guy. They were actually really close, and there's this whole like unraveling of like this story of like how did she know this person? Why was he killed? It was originally covered up as a suicide, and a lot of twists and turns. But it's like a little lighthearted, but heavy at points. But yeah, it was just a fun like little murder mystery show. Ends on a really kooky twist. But yeah, they're talking about a season 2. But I enjoyed it thoroughly, and it was just a fun watch. I mentioned a few shows on here that were pretty heavy, and this was a nice little light one to watch. Kind of sucks that we finished it, because now we gotta wait for season 2. But but I enjoyed it enough that I was like, I was like, fuck it. If I can't think of another show to put on here, I'm just gonna shove that one on there. So
I've heard nothing but positives on
Yeah.
Only Murders. So yeah,
It was
I
fun.
don't think you're the only one.
yeah, it was a very charming show too. So that's me.
All right,
Nice.
on to Kayla.
Number 5, I have WandaVision. I know that
WandaVision. WandaVision. The first half, right?
you gotta take it as its whole. I know that a lot of us feel the ending wasn't as good as the beginning, but the beginning was just so good. I enjoyed the like weird twist on old sitcoms. It just had me
That was fun.
like busting a gut. They were cute. I loved like Vision in this kind of throughout. I think he really shined through, and uh, it was just one. I mean, I feel like when we were back there scoring it, we all gave it like 7s and 8s. So, I didn't write down what I gave it, but I know it was up there. I
A
like that
7 and
weird
8
stuff.
kind of year.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Really is for everything for me. Number 4, I have Arcane. We've talked about that a lot.
Okay.
Something that really just wasn't on my radar at all and really surprised me and really has me telling people to watch it left and right. Number 3, I have Loki.
Nice.
Enough said. Number 2, I have Mare. Enough said. Number 1, I have Castlevania. This
Oh,
was just
nice.
something that
Oh, it's
Fucking-
kinda, it's just
if you
got
think I'm
Wow.
telling people to watch Arcane, I'm telling people to watch Castlevania more.
Fuck.
nice.
I just
Ooh.
was totally enthralled, and my attention was just all on it.
I'm loving all the love for Castlevania. in
We
this
have
room.
6 locked in at this point, by the way.
I know.
folks.
I know.
God.
Yeah, that's where I was saying, like, it got a little. It's gonna get hairy
Holy
here.
smokes,
Get a little
holy
hairy.
smokes.
We all talked about how TV was the one category that really shined this year. So
TV was. It really
had
That's
a-
the
was.
most.
I had such a strong 10 shows on my final list. Like Res Dogs didn't make my 5, and I really, really enjoyed Res Dogs. And I'm glad that it's gonna. I think it's gonna make it on the list. But I'm happy it is. But
I'll fight for it.
5, I have Loki.
Okay.
I remember my score for Loki, and it was a fucking 10. And
Nice.
love Loki.
Apex Mountain.
For Loki, yeah, like I don't know. Like for Marvel, it's up there for me. I it's not the best thing, but very good. 4, I have Arcane. Such a fun trip, fun surprise. 3, I have Mare.
Woo!
Fucking love Mare. 2 is my outlier from everyone else. Is Succession. This season, goddamn, so fucking good. It starts off like you think you know what this season is going to be. It's going to be father versus son. And man, it's just so much. There's so many little B plots and so many just like little one-off things and conversations that can be important. You never know what is going to which way it's going to go ultimately. Over the battle over this big company, and there's Congress is involved, and there's this thing involved, father versus son, and these other siblings and what they're doing, and the one son wants to be fucking president, and he's like an ignoramus, and he has no business trying to be president, and
have you seen
there's
it,
an
Petri?
episode where it's a meeting of rich people picking the next president. Who are they going to put,
Ooh.
and they know that if they put whoever they put out there is going to win, because that's just how,
Is this the Illumipati now?
it's kind of is. It's a really fascinating episode and into the lives of something I'll never experience and never be even close to. Love the show. It's the best writing, the best acting on TV.
Man.
You make the
But number
best
one,
sales pitch, bro. Like, for real. I haven't seen anything you talk about. I'm like, God damn, I gotta watch this show, bro.
it's so good. I think that's a fun show to binge, because you love and hate all these people. Like there's no one that you just like, man, I want cousin Greg to make it on top. No, because cousin Greg fucking sucks too.
Lord.
It's
Put that
kind
on
of
a t-shirt.
It kind of reminds me of a show like a Shameless or something, where it's just a bunch of people doing fucked up things, but the fucked up things are so different than
Yeah.
Shameless. It's bumped up to the 11th degree. Their fucked up shit isn't happening in the south side of Chicago. It's happening on a fucking yacht in Naples or something. Like it's just it flipped on its head like that. I love it. I love the show. Number 1 is Midnight Mass.
Joker.
It had such good moments, such good over the top crazy horror-y moments, tender moments. It all just clicked for me. The relationships of this small town and all these characters together blend so well. It really worked. Really, just could not. Like I was watching it with Selena. She had a tough time with it. It was a little snoozy for her, but just waiting, like knowing, like, okay, are we gonna have time to watch one of these tonight? Are we gonna be able to fit it in? And when it didn't have, like, when I couldn't keep going, it's like, oh god, I just want to know. I want to hear these people talk more. And loved it. My number 1 with a bullet was Midnight Mass.
Wow.
So in a lot of these categories leading up to this, disappointments, moments, movies, all of it, we've had like a fairly wide, range of long lists.
No, we all hit the target
choices
on this
nominees.
one.
I think, yeah. I mean, we have
We're fucking dialed in on fucking TV.
we have 9 total
Oh
in
my
this entire
God.
thing, because of all the
Right.
repeats and triple repeats and even quadruple repeats.
We all had Mare, so
Yeah.
that's your first easy one.
Mare might be
Yeah.
our number 1, huh? Yeah, she made it on the bracket. It was such a great show. If we were doing a number 1, I think.
She couldn't take down Rust, but
Yeah, if True Detective came out this year, it would also win for me, but it didn't.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it would.
But no, I wouldn't. I think we haven't done an actual top 5 for the Machine of Nonsense. We've done the 5 that need to be on there, and if Mare's not on it, I'll be very angry. Let's lock in Mare at very least and have the conversation about the other things.
everything else. I think we all
yeah.
had Loki too.
I think we did. I think Loki,
Mhm.
and for good
Oh,
reason.
then yeah, I
Loki was worthy of everything.
would love to lock in Loki.
Glorious purpose.
Yep.
Um,
Hive mind, baby.
I
That's what
think
I got.
so. I want to say, I mean, to me, I'm looking at it. I see Mare, I see Midnight Mass, I see Reservation Dogs, and I see Loki, and then I see 2 animated shows, Arcane and Castlevania.
I knew this is what it was gonna
Oh
come down to. I
no!
think because
Oh no!
I think Midnight Mass has to make it. I think Res Dogs has to make it. It would probably be my 6 on my list. I love Castlevania, but for me, it wasn't the strongest season of Castle. I think season 3 for me was my favorite.
I'll bite at that. To me, a lot of the Castlevania was just the culmination of, like I said, for me, it was the tying of the bow,
Sure,
wrapping it up.
They did a good bow,
Yeah.
very good bow.
It was the overall
Every
performance.
phase.
Yeah, overall performance coming to a nice end. But yeah, I think there were stronger seasons than the last one.
I thought there were lots of really good explosive battles in season 4.
Yes.
Oh, there were.
Yes.
I loved it. Like you said, it wraps up, but not only does it wrap up really well, it left me wanting more. And then we shortly thereafter got the announcement that we're gonna get like a prequel series, or I think it's a prequel.
No,
sequel.
Trevor's the first Belmont in
Okay,
the current canon. So
gotcha. Okay.
So yeah,
We'll probably see Alucard again. Is my
well,
guess.
Alucard is a vampire. He's immortal. They'll find some way to shoehorn him in there. But yeah,
So give me what we have so far locked in.
We have 6 locked in. We have Mayor of Easttown, Arcane, Midnight Mass, Reservation Dogs, Loki, and Castlevania Season 3.
Can we just put Arcanavania on the? Can we just say that?
I mean, it would speak to how deep TV was this year, how fantastic TV was this year, that we just say, fuck it, it's a top 6. It ain't a top 5. It's like,
I mean, it says the Machine of Nonsense.
Like, I mean, it's so tough. It's so tough. I mean, I could make
Definitely tell you, I've played a lot more Castlevania than League of Legends. So.
I could make an argument that I would take, as much as I loved it and everything else, I would take Reservation Dogs off and throw so that Arcane and Castlevania stayed.
Yeah?
Like,
Okay.
almost,
Mine.
Mike, you didn't have Res, right?
I don't.
I don't.
I loved it. I just really loved it, and I'm really excited for what's to come. But I think I have it on my list, and some of my excitement around it is the surprise of it. Like it came out of nowhere for me. And I'm weighting that pretty heavily. Whereas Castlevania was something that I was like waiting to come out and everything else, and it hit.
Yeah.
It answered the call. So it's hard for me to weight
I
those
don't
things.
like it that much.
Oh, Reservation Dogs.
Right.
Ah.
Okay.
Well, if we're going off of where our heart lies, I'm leaning Castlevania. That series has been with me since I was a child, so
You're leaning towards
I'm
that staying.
yes. I mean, I gotta lean towards my bias. So
What would you like to see leave? If you had to pick one.
I didn't watch Arcane, so
Okay. Okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
that's why I said I'm leaning towards my bias. So
I'd feel so.
I don't feel like I'm fair for this discussion.
Yeah, I'd feel so
Arcane
bad
would
if
be my favorite out of
Arcane-
those three.
Man, yeah, if Arcane got kicked off, I'd feel real bad. I'd
Think-
feel real bad.
What about kicking off Reservation Dogs?
I suppose I'd feel less bad. I feel like slightly less bad if
Is
Reservation.
history going to repeat itself here? Are we always just going to kick the Native American people?
Oh,
my
no.
God.
Oh no!
Come on, guys. You're being
You
some
guys-
real shit
You
asses
guys
here.
got her on the best characters.
Oh
my
no!
God.
The Trail of Steers. Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
Oh no.
Stephanie again.
Come and get your love.
Eric's
Yeah.
Eric looks awfully like a $20 bill right now.
Oh
So-
gosh. Oh no. Oh, this is tough, guys. I mean,
what's your middle name, Eric? Andrew Jackson? What?
gosh. No, no. How do we feel about Mayor of Easttown, Arcane,
Okay.
Midnight Mass,
Okay.
Loki, and
Okay.
Castlevania Season 4?
I'm okay with it.
I don't know if we're ever gonna get to like something that makes us feel 100% easy with just 5. But yes, I'm okay.
I feel good.
I think maybe Kayla's saying that, like, it wasn't like, oh, Reservation Dogs didn't just like, it almost missed the cut. It was almost number 6 or something. Just like, it didn't work. It didn't work, right? Like,
It worked.
for you.
It's not on my list, long list or anything.
Wow.
I'm excited for more Res Dogs, but I think I'm more excited for
And
more Castlevania.
I remember you guys saying like it was hard. Like Castlevania it's hard to not see it as a whole.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I watched it all this year.
Right.
So,
For season 3,
but I
rewatched
still
everything.
think the season 4, like I said, for me, like how I separated is like, okay, this is when all the battles happened. All the battles. Battles on bridges, battles with demons of the night, battles with Carmilla, battles with ghost thing out of the castle graveyard basement thing, battles in space.
Yeah, that fucking eyeball beast with like the fucking laser
Battles in the
things.
castle, battles
in the
with the
castle.
villagers.
The siege where like the fucking all the monsters are about to break through.
Right,
There's
right.
some good shit
They
in
come
there.
together.
Some good stuff. Oh,
But
I
greasy
was-
fry bread, greasy fry bread.
He's coming in. He's swinging. Oh my god, that's so
Come
good.
on now.
So good.
He's such a deadbeat dad, though.
Greasy fry bread.
Should have been on Bo Burnham's Inside, you know?
My vote between Castlevania and Rez is Rez.
Oof. I'm Castle.
We're
I'm
voting to
sorry.
stay. I need to
Fuck.
make sure I know.
Yeah, it's come down to these two.
Voting
I
for
think these
voting for
two-
stay.
Right.
I
right.
vote
didn't know if we're
Castlevania.
voting for stay or voting
Mike's
for leave.
Rez. You better.
I don't want to be the final vote,
Greasy
but I mean, I guess I know your vote already, Kayla. Castlevania.
Right. It's my number one.
So,
Yeah?
that's true. Yeah, she is.
Oh, that's right.
She's fighting, kicking and screaming.
Wow.
Eric,
Castlevania going on in my house
you
right
made the
now.
classic
I would rather see
Tomas
Arcane.
mistake. You went last.
Fuck.
Phone a friend.
Let's get Tony on the line. Get
I don't know if you've
Tonas.
seen Res Dogs.
Man, do I want to do Taika dirty?
There's a lot of Taika representation on this show.
There is. Willie Jack did make best
Good
characters,
characters.
so I like that
There is
a lot.
representation.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Castlevania did not make it anywhere else. Fuck it. All right. TV of the year comes down to Mayor of Easttown, Arcane, Midnight Mass, Loki, and Castlevania Season 4 with a honorable mention of Reservation Dogs.
I go with
Wonderful
that.
year in TV. Go watch Succession.
Yes.
Definitely.
I'm gonna go do that, and I want to check out Only
you're
Murders in the
not.
Building
Let's
as well.
stream.
Liar.
We talk about it all the time. We will. We did start What We Do in the Shadows, so
We did.
That's really good. I thought
Fun.
Tomas would have that on his list.
I don't know. Like that was another thing. It was like, do I want? It's like I did one of like each because Taika Res Dogs, Loki, Winter Falcon, and
Yeah.
so like I picked one from each one of the categories.
Gotcha.
I figure I went with the newer, the fresher blood. So okay, Tony has not seen Res Dogs, so we couldn't have used him anyway. So he did just finish Midnight Mass though. So
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
if there was
you
any
watch
doubt,
Castlevania.
Yeah, that was silly. I knew Tony would lean anything.
yeah,
Tony would Castlevania over his firstborn. I think. I don't know.
He's the one who convinced me to buy Symphony of the Night. So when I was buying,
and that moment affected both of our lives.
yes, it
I
did.
think, at different moments in time.
When I was
you paid it forward to me. So
I had a PlayStation as a child with only a demo disc for months, and when I had to save up money to the only game I wanted at the time was Final Fantasy VII, so I bought that. But when it came time to buy my second game for that PlayStation, the fate hung in the balance, and Symphony of the Night was the one that won out. So
Pennsylvania.
well, what is a list?
What is a list? It's all arbitrary. It's all nonsense.
a miserable pile of little secrets.
This was the nonsense of the year. Just to recap, we did games, movies, and TV of the year. For games, we chose Resident Evil Village, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Metroid Dread, Monster Hunter Rise, and The Forgotten City. For movies, we chose Bo Burnham's Inside, Judas and the Black Messiah, The Suicide Squad, The Green Knight, and The Lost Daughter. And for TV, begrudgingly, we chose Mayor of Easttown, Arcane, Midnight Mass, Loki, and Castlevania Season 4. That was a lot of fun, guys.
Nice.
That was our first ever Nonsense of the Year awards.
Nobody killed each other.
Just fantastic. Can't wait to do this again next year with you guys.
I'm hoping for an A, like a instead of an 8 out of 10 year. Let's go for a 9 out of 10 year. Really hoping. There's some bangers on the horizon. So
hell yeah. One of them's Horizon.
Horizon's on the horizon.
Yes.
Horizon's on the horizon. So maybe I can actually buy a PlayStation 5 this year. That'd be awesome.
All right, guys. I hope everyone out there enjoyed the Nonsense of the Year awards. Part 1 is already out there, so check that one out before you listen to this one. I don't know why I'm saying this at the end of the episode. we love you guys out there.
Edit it to the front.
Please go ahead and follow us on all social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We've got a wonderful Facebook fan group called Monstars. Go ahead and join if you haven't already. Take place in a poll. Leave us a message. Do interact with us. We love hearing from you. You can hear your voice on this pod by going to anchor.fm/machine of nonsense and leaving us a voicemail. I'll splice it right in and, come with a question, come with a comment. We want to hear from you. It's been a wild year, 2021. Some great TV and some fun movies and fun games. Glad we got to break it all down in the Nonsense of the Year awards. Thank you guys, Mike, Tomas, and Kayla, for doing this and fighting it out. And
We did it.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
We
just
did
like
it.
just like Castlevania, man. We put a bow on the end of it.
hell yeah. So here's to a new year, 2022, coming in hot, and we're getting out of here, and we're saying goodbye.
Bye.
Have at you.
Die, monster.